Chapter 39:27. Chapter 39:27. Jun Linyuan went berserk. Chapter 39:27. Jun Linyuan went berserk. At that critical moment, Feng Wu made her move. Involuntarily, she raised her arm, and a barrel suddenly stuck out, aiming at Patriarch's arm. Instantly, there was an explosion. Feng Wu fired at the old man as she told the others to back off. Everyone here was smart. They were acutely aware of the danger, so they all backed away involuntarily. Jun Linyuan did the same, and Feng Wu ran the fastest. There was a loud explosion. Patriarch Zhuo was already holding something that looked like it was going to explode, but Feng Wu's explosion had increased the power by several times. Boom! Flames filled the air. The fire was blazing. Involuntarily, Feng Wu and the others lay flat on their stomachs to dodge the impact. Jun Linyuan threw himself at Feng Wu, shielding her with his own body. Poof! Boom! Even with the invisible formation, the temple still cracked as if it could collapse at any moment. The onlookers were 1,000 meters away and thought that they had run far enough, but when the shock wave hit them, they realized how terrifying it was. Arg! My eyes! My hair! I'm on fire. My clothes are in pieces. My face is covered with blood. Even from so far away, these people were already in such a miserable state, let alone someone so close to the Patriarch's. Everything quieted down after the explosion. Wiping away the ash on her face, Feng Wu looked up and saw that Patriarch Zhua had turned into a charred corpse. Standing there, he looked rather intimidating. The battle had stopped, but Little Phoenix reacted quickly and hid in her ring space. The giant eagle was able to withstand the attack, so it was fine. What about Jun Linyuan? Feng Wu heard a faint noise. Only then did Feng Wu's ears stop buzzing, and she gradually regained her senses. She then realized that someone was lying on her back. It was none other than Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu rose to her feet in a hurry, but she moved so fast that Jun Linyuan drew in his breath in pain. Feng Wu didn't dare to move, but she was worried sick. How do you feel? Does it hurt? Is it serious? Don't worry about it. Take the medicine first. Before Jun Linyuan could react, Feng Wu stuffed a handful of pills into his mouth. The semi-divine blood-clotting pill, the internal blood pill, the injury pill, the painless pill. Feng Wu stuffed everything she had into his mouth. Jun Linyuan didn't say anything. A smile flickered in his cold eyes. Smile. A short distance away, Princess Raoshi was dumbfounded. What's going on? Your Royal Highness, how can you still be smiling? Moreover, why was he smiling so gently at Feng Wu? Not only was he smiling, but he was also rubbing Feng Wu's head. That was so frustrating. Meanwhile, Matriarch Hua and the Master of the Firmament Palace exchanged looks, and both saw fear in each other's eyes. Patriarch Zhuo was dead. He was dead just like that. Jun Linyuan, how dare you kill a spiritual saint? Matriarch Hua pointed at Jun Linyuan with a smirk on her face. Jun Linyuan snorted. Although he didn't say anything, everyone could tell what he meant. So what if he did? However, the old lady frowned. Don't you know that you have to pay a price for killing a spiritual saint? Jun Linyuan remained unperturbed. However, Feng Wu frowned a little. Her instinct told her that something wasn't right. Therefore, Feng Wu said, so what if he killed a spiritual saint? The old lady suddenly laughed. So what? What do you think? A spiritual saint can't be humiliated or killed. If you kill him, the lightning tribulation will double when you climb the heavenly stairs. Feng Wu frowned. If that was the case, Jun Linyuan would be in a lot of trouble. Although she didn't know what heavenly stairs were if Jun Linyuan made another breakthrough in the future. Just then, the head of the Firmament Palace spoke in a cold voice. If I'm not mistaken, just then. You killed Zhuo, didn't you, Feng Wu? The head of the Firmament Palace glanced at Feng Wu with a taunting look in her eyes. Feng Wu stiffened. Jun Linyuan stiffened as well. Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan looked at each other, and both recalled what happened before the old man died. Patriarch Zhuo wasn't dead when Jun Linyuan's Sky Destroyer pierced his heart, and he was still strong enough to fight back. Feng Wu then aimed her arm at the old man. What? Feng Wu almost buried her head in her hands. It was true. She really had killed the old man. I killed a spiritual saint? I killed a spiritual saint. No one would believe it, but it was the truth. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan and wanted to cry, but no tears would come. Jun Linyuan was obviously in a bad mood as well. What if Feng Wu made a breakthrough one day? Seeing Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan's reaction, the old master of the Firmament Palace and Matriarch Hua were elated and laughed in satisfaction. However, the next moment, Jun Linyuan put Feng Wu aside and turned to face the two women. The temperature seemed to drop. A chill ran down their spines. Protect yourself, Jun Linyuan told Feng Wu behind him. Feng Wu looked concerned. Looking around, Feng Wu was anxious. Why wasn't her sick senior brother here yet? Meanwhile, the two women exchanged looks and nodded at each other. Let's go, both women shouted at the same time. Gue Tsulai was about to move closer when a black shadow charged at Feng Wu and grabbed her. Feng Wu tried to throw him off, but she couldn't even move her arm of discipline. It's you. Feng Wu recognized the person. The man in the black robe. It was none other than the black-robed man who had taken Feng Wu away from the ship, but had been thrown off by Feng Wu. He had been chasing Feng Wu ever since. Feng Wu was filled with hatred as soon as she saw the person. Hiding behind the black mask, the man stared at Feng Wu with a smirk on his face. He then tried to drag Feng Wu away. While Jun Linyuan was fighting the two spiritual saints, he tried to take Feng Wu away. But he had forgotten about something. Gue Tsulai would never die for Jun Linyuan, but he wouldn't let anything happen to the girl that the Patriarch was protecting. Hence, he drew out his Heaven Demon sword. Put her down. He charged out and swiped the sword across the man's back. Whoosh! The back of the man's robe was cut open, revealing a bloody gash. The man was going to take Feng Wu away, but he slowed down a little so that Feng Wu could use her arm of discipline. The scorching hot barrel of the arm was aimed at the black-robed man's chest. There was a flash of lightning. At such a close distance, even when the black-robed man reacted in time and dodged the attack, he was still hit on the right side of his chest. The man bellowed and stared at Feng Wu. Since when did the girl have such a formidable weapon? Feng Wu's attack successfully helped Gue Tsulai block the man's way. He pointed his sword at the man. Put her down. The man glared at Gue Tsulai. Are you representing Northern Yin to make Dongsang your enemy? Gue Tsulai's pupils contracted. Among the Junwu Empire, the Dongsang Kingdom, and the Northern Yin Kingdom, the Dongsang Kingdom was the strongest, the Junwu Empire the second, and the Northern Yin Kingdom the third. If the Dongsang Kingdom was offended, the Northern Yin Kingdom would be in a lot of trouble. Although Gue Tsulai was an unparalleled swordsman, he still had tens of thousands of fellow countrymen. He couldn't abandon them, nor could he abandon the fate of Northern Yin. But he still couldn't back off. Gue Tsulai blocked the man with his own body and stared at him. Put her down. The man glared at her. Are you really going to offend Dongsang? Gue Tsulai said, You can leave, but put her down. The man smirked. Put it down? He could do that. After tossing Feng Wu at Gue Tsulai, the man went to look for Jun Linyuan himself. Immediately, the three of them surrounded Jun Linyuan again. Exasperated, Feng Wu was about to go in when Gue Tsulai grabbed her. No! Feng Wu glared at him. Let go of me. If you won't help him, I will. However, Gue Tsulai still wouldn't let go of Feng Wu. He heaved a long sigh. I'll go fight Matriarch Hua. Stay here. The man was a high-ranking official of the Dongsang Kingdom, and the relationship between the Dongsang Kingdom and the Northern Yin Kingdom was concerned, so Gue Tsulai couldn't attack him. The matriarch of the Firmament Palace was still waking up, so he couldn't attach the head of the Firmament Palace either. Therefore, Matriarch Hua was the only one he could pick on. However, just as Gue Tsulai was about to move forward, he heard a thump. A sword stabbed into the old lady's body, instantly breaking her defense. It was Jun Linyuan. He was still able to kill the old lady when the three of them were attacking him together. However, A spiritual saint like Matriarch Hua couldn't be killed with one strike. She still had a lot of energy left. But Feng Wu reacted quickly. She had already activated her arm when Jun Linyuan stabbed the old lady. Feng Wu had spent a lot of effort to build this arm, and she had hidden a lot of hidden weapons in it. She had used a lot of them, but at least there were still some things left. She knew that it was now or never. Once the defense was broken, she could injure Matriarch Hua the way she had injured Patriarch Hua. "Watch out!" Feng Wu shouted as she ran toward the old lady and aimed her arm at the old lady's back. Instantly, flames filled the air. The giant eagle reacted quickly as well. When Feng Wu charged forward, it shifted and shielded Feng Wu with its cumbersome body, blocking the last strike from the old lady. As expected, the old lady wasn't to be trifled with either. Jun Linyuan had stabbed her in the chest, and Feng Wu had fired at her in the back. She felt as if her soul was going to leave her body. "How dare you? Go to hell!" The old lady knew that she was doomed and was going to die here in the northern Yin Kingdom, but she had to drag someone down with her. She had realized all along that Feng Wu was Jun Linyuan's treasure and his life. If Feng Wu died, Jun Linyuan might lose his mind, and if he lost his mind, the Junwu Empire would be doomed. That was to say, her mission would be accomplished. "Master, I've lived up to your order." After that, Matriarch Hua spared no effort and pounced at Feng Wu. She wanted to wrap her arms around Feng Wu and explode. Jun Linyuan was surrounded by the black-robed man and the old master of the Firmament Palace and couldn't get close enough. Thud! Thud! Jun Linyuan was hit twice in a row. He stumbled and looked like he was going to collapse. Just as the old lady pounced at Feng Wu, Gui Tsulai leaped into the air. Spiritual essence filled the air, and the next second, he threw Feng Wu away, but he was too late. Thump! Matriarch Hua grabbed Gui Tsulai and blew herself up. "Gui Tsulai!" Feng Wu cried out in midair. She had been careless. She had been too careless. This was the battlefield of spiritual saints, and she was only a spiritual overlord. Although she was a peak spiritual overlord, she was a spiritual overlord nonetheless. This wasn't her battlefield. Staring at the flames, Feng Wu was filled with murderous intentions. Was Gui Tsulai dead? The ground shook violently, and the air seemed to ripple. The black smoke dissipated. Feng Wu saw the old lady's shattered body. Half of her body was still on Gui Tsulai. Meanwhile, cough, cough, Gui Chu wasn't dead, but he was charred black from head to toe. Feng Wu rushed over and stuffed a handful of pills into his mouth. Blood-clotting pills, internal injury pills, anesthesia pills. She stuffed them all in. Gui Tsulai tasted something sweet in his throat, and blood gushed out. He was about to spit it out when Feng Wu said hastily, "They're all semi-divine pills." Gui Tsulai had never seen so many semi-divine pills before, and he couldn't bring himself to spit them out. He swallowed them all in one go with the blood. Seeing that he could still swallow the pill, Feng Wu let out a breath of relief. "You'll be fine. I think you'll be fine." Gui Tsulai opened his bright eyes and nodded at Feng Wu. He then sat down in a corner and started cultivating. Feng Wu was filled with guilt when she saw Gui Tsulai repairing his injuries, coughing violently before swallowing the blood. Only a moment ago, she was blaming Gui Tsulai for not doing anything. In fact, if she were to be serious, she would consider Gui Tsulai to be Jun Linyuan's match. Only a petty person should be considered an enemy. It was already very rare that he had helped her before. Feng Wu took a deep breath. She owed Gui Tsulai one. And Feng Wu then saw the Heaven Demon Sword. Gui Tsulai had to rely on the Heaven Demon Sword to survive the explosion. Feng Wu was glad that she hadn't been too stingy and had given the sword to Gui Qiai in the end. Otherwise, everything was predestined. However, Feng Wu had also been hit by some of the aftershocks, which made her blood boil. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan only had two opponents left. One was the black-robed man, and the other was the old master of the Firmament Palace. As for Jun Linyuan, no matter how many wounds he had sustained, the stubborn teenager still stood ramrod straight like a god. It was the intimidating power of a supreme master. It was as if the two spiritual saints were as insignificant as ants. Fengwu wasn't the only one who thought that way. Many other people thought the same. Was Jun Linyuan really the god of war? The old master of the Firmament Palace felt her heart skip a beat. She saw the charred body of Patriarch Zhua and the disintegrated body of Matriarch Hua. She had been so confident before, but now she was suspicious. Was Jun Linyuan impossible to kill? Wasn't he injured before coming here to fight Gui Tsulai? Hadn't he been cut a few times by Patriarch Zhua? Shouldn't he be dead by now? Why was he still fighting after losing so much blood? The head of the Firmament Palace couldn't understand it. Another person was confused as well. It was none other than the black-robed man. He hid in a corner and only came out when the battle was almost over. However, was it too early? Staring at the two spiritual saints with his cold eyes, Jun Linyuan was surrounded by a cold-blooded energy. His Sky Destroyer was already cracked, and it should be cracking at any moment. But blood dripped down the tip of his sword. With each step Jun Linyuan took, the two spiritual saints in front of him stumbled back. Fengwu wondered who had said that confidence was more precious than a diamond. It seemed that it was true. Although two of them were spiritual saints, they still felt their confidence had been shattered by the severely injured Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan's murderous intention was like a tidal wave that no one dared to fight back. The old master of the Firmament Palace and the black-robed man looked at each other and nodded solemnly. They then charged at Jun Linyuan and fought him to the death. The Dongsang Kingdom. Night Owl was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it. How did this happen? Weren't the three of them attacking Jun Linyuan together? How could he take the chance to kill one of them? Were they idiots? Night Owl was so angry that he almost blew up his own room. There were two spiritual saints left, and Xiao would be here before Jun Linyuan's help arrived. Therefore, things were still manageable. Night Owl thought to himself. Meanwhile, many people felt differently from Night Owl. Because of how intimidating Jun Linyuan was, with each step he took, everyone felt that death was closing in on them. Jun Linyuan was about to crush everyone when a figure descended from above. That speed meant that it was another very capable cultivator. However, when the cold wind dissipated, the man in black said in pleasant surprise, "Master Xiao, you're here." Master Xiao. Fengwu's heart sank when she saw the excited look on his face. The newcomer was from the enemy's side and was more powerful than the black-robed man. They just wouldn't stop. Fengwu was almost in tears. Where's Feng? Why isn't he here? Hasn't he been protecting Jun Linyuan? Fengwu grabbed Feng Sun. Feng Sun said with a long face, Feng has gone to another kingdom. It's that mysterious kingdom on the other side of the sea. He won't be back for a while. Fengwu didn't know what to say. The three of them were working together against Jun Linyuan. No matter how capable her Junjun was, he wouldn't be able to withstand such a tiresome battle. The next moment, Jun Linyuan's eyes flickered and a sword howled. Blood gushed out of Sky Destroyer, then turned into a river of blood behind Jun Linyuan. Blood filled the air, and the fierce sword energy howled like a gust of wind, bringing with it a destructive power. Fengwu felt that Jun Linyuan's cultivation level had suddenly risen, but the increase made her stomach lurch, and she felt that things were getting out of hand. As expected, in the next moment, shit! Feng Sun was so anxious that he almost jumped to his feet. No! No! Fengwu grabbed Feng Sun and asked, what happened? What happened? What's going on? What's that destructive power? Tell me. Feng Sun said anxiously, Boss Jun has gone berserk. He's going berserk. Fengwu's knees buckled. What do you mean by that? Was it the berserk state she thought about? Feng Sun was almost in tears. Where is Feng? He's the only one who can stop that. This is bad. However, apart from Feng Sun, no one knew what Jun Linyuan's berserk state meant. Leave. Clear out this place. Feng Sun shouted at the people behind him. People 1,000 meters away had been injured, and many had run away. After all, no matter how good a battle was, one's life was the most important thing. but some bold people were still standing there. Meanwhile, Feng Sun grabbed Feng Wu's arm and yelled, "Fall back! Fall back now!" He grabbed Feng Wu by the back of her collar. Feng Sun tried to drag her away. However, Feng Wu struggled. "No, I want to stay here. Feng Wu was more capable than Feng Sun at the moment. So if Feng Wu didn't want to, Feng Sun wouldn't be able to drag her away. Not only that, but Feng Wu had also pushed him to the ground, and he slid for dozens of meters, which infuriated Feng Sun. "Boss Jun has gone berserk. He's going berserk. He won't be able to recognize you. He'll kill you anyway, you idiot." Feng Sun yelled at Feng Wu. Feng Wu stiffened as well. Staring at Feng Sun, she asked, "What? Did you just?" Feng Sun said anxiously. The last time he lost his mind, he was only 10 years old, but the power he exerted was enough to destroy everything within a 50-kilometer radius. Where do you think he got that nickname from? He's a fiend who kills people like flies. Feng Wu was astonished. Feng Sun said, "Let's go." Feng Wu shook her head. "I'm not leaving." With or without Feng Wu, the four people started fighting again. It was true. Feng Wu couldn't go to the battlefield this time. The battle was much fiercer than before. Feng Wu saw that when Jun Linyuan's Sky Destroyer flew into the air, it turned into a river of blood. Gradually, it turned into a blood-red bone dragon. Ignoring the others, Jun Linyuan charged at the man in black. Right now, Jun Linyuan's eyes had turned scarlet red, and he looked invincible. Seeing Jun Linyuan charging at him, the man felt a chill run down his spine when he saw the strange look in Jun Linyuan's eyes. It was as if he had died. He felt his arms go weak and his legs go numb, and he had forgotten how to lift a hand. What a pair of eyes. When Jun Linyuan moved, the air seemed to crack. It was so terrifying. Was he really only an intermediate spiritual saint? Feng Wu felt that Jun Linyuan was suddenly going all out. Frightened, the man in black turned to flee. Both Xiao and the master of the Firmament Palace blocked the man's way. The next second, they were knocked down by an arm. With a thump, Xiao was knocked to the left and the master of the Firmament Palace to the right. Jun Linyuan then ran after the man in black. SSSS. Xiao only drew in his breath, but the old master of the Firmament Palace touched her arm, which had gone numb and was terrified. That capability, she wanted to curse him. Was Jun Linyuan even human? How could it be so tough all of a sudden? She didn't have time to complain, because they were already chasing Jun Linyuan. They couldn't let him kill the man in black just like that. The three of them formed a triangle, which was the most convenient way to attack Jun Linyuan. If they were one man down, their attack power would be greatly reduced. However, how fast would Jun Linyuan? Before the master of the Firmament Palace and Xiao could do anything, Jun Linyuan had caught the arrogant black-robed man with his bare hands. Seeing the man in black, who looked like a chicken in Jun Linyuan's hand, Feng Wu sighed inwardly. The man had given her the impression that he was as powerful as the sky, and she would never be able to get past him. However, he was like a fish on a chopping board now. Feng Wu could even see the panic in his eyes. For a moment, Feng Wu thought that the black-robed man was dead, but he kept showing up. And now, Jun Linyuan finally had him. The next second, Jun Linyuan pulled with both hands. Whoosh! There was a scream. The black-robed man screamed in pain. Jun Linyuan had ripped the man in half with his bare hands. Next to Feng Wu, Feng Nun Snuaria a little. Feng Wu paled a little as well. Taking Feng Wu's hand, Feng Sun said in a trembling voice, "He's not thinking straight now. All he can do is kill everyone. Feng Wu stared at Feng Sun. Tears welled up in Feng Sun's eyes, but he still nodded solemnly. It hasn't happened for almost 10 years. He wouldn't have been like this if he hadn't been cornered. Feng is the only one who can stop him. Feng is the only one. With Boss Jun's capability, he doesn't need any protection at all. Feng has been following him around all these years to prevent this from happening, but he couldn't have predicted that something like this would happen when he was only gone for a few days. These people have pushed him to his limit." Tears welled up in Feng Wu's eyes as she watched Jun Linyuan lose himself in this berserk state. Her heart went out to him. Right now, Jun Linyuan reminded one of the god of war. There was a cold, murderous look in his eyes, as if he were the god of death. He had the power to destroy heaven and earth. The space around him contorted. Terrifying power filled the air. The wind howled. The murderous energy was chaotic. The blood dragon looked as if it had existed forever. Its scales glinted coldly, and its eyes were cold and emotionless. It took a deep breath, and the spiritual essence in the air seemed to be sucked out by it. It then injected all its drained spiritual essence into Jun Linyuan. It didn't fight, nor did it seem to care about fighting, but it kept giving its power to Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan headed straight for Xiao. Night Owl was so shocked that he fell to the ground. Oh God, he had never expected such a turn of events. It was so. Victory was on her side. Why was this happening? His face was drained of all color, and he was too shocked to speak. Jun Linyuan grabbed Xiao with his bare hands. Arg! Night Owl bellowed. No, no, it was Xiao, an intermediate spiritual saint. His father had given him that man to protect him. But Jun Linyuan ripped Xiao apart with his bare hands again. Blood gushed out, and Zhao's body was covered in blood. With his bare hands, Jun Linyuan had just torn a spiritual saint to pieces with her bare hands. Had this world gone insane? Or were they seeing things? The old master of the Firmament Palace was so frightened that her heart was pounding. That was so scary. She had been through countless battles in her life, but she had never felt so terrified before. Killing an intermediate spiritual saint was as easy as killing a chicken for Jun Linyuan. The head of the Firmament Palace didn't dare to stay here anymore. She ran as fast as a gust of wind. Jun Linyuan swayed and was ready to go after her. However, Feng Sun said anxiously, "No, he's too severely injured and has lost too much blood. Plus, there's only so much time left. He's reaching his limit." Stop! Northern Yan's king and his guards arrived in a hurry. He had already received the news, but he pretended that he didn't know what was going on. The situation was too complicated, and he didn't want the Northern Yan kingdom to get involved. Moreover, he was the king of the Northern Yan kingdom. If the Dongxing kingdom and the Junwu Empire were weakened, it would be a good thing for him. Therefore, he deliberately ignored them, but he couldn't do that now. A spiritual saint next to the king charged at Jun Linyuan. The next second, Jun Linyuan gave up on chasing the old master of the Firmament Palace. Instead, he reached out and grabbed the spiritual saint by the throat. "Ah!" the king cried out. He saw a murderous look in Jun Linyuan's eyes. It was as if he was going to charge at them as soon as he killed the spiritual saint. Chapter 39:28. Chapter 39:28. Jun 1. Chapter 39:28. Jun 1. Sensing that Jun Linyuan was coming their way, the king stumbled back involuntarily. Frightened by Jun Linyuan's cold demeanor, everyone felt a chill run down their spines as if they were going to die at any moment. The spiritual saint in Jun Linyuan's hand began to struggle. He didn't want to die just like that. However, Jun Linyuan picked him up as easily as picking up a chicken. The onlookers were scared out of their wits, including the officials of the Northern Yan Kingdom. Isn't that? If I'm not mistaken, he's Master Wu Bai, isn't he? That's right, Master Wu Bai. He's the captain of His Majesty's personal guards and one of the most capable cultivators in the Imperial Palace. Everyone exchanged looks of bewilderment. A top cultivator. Feng Wu's stomach lurched, and she froze on the spot. Emperor, Yin murmured. Has he lost his mind? Has Jun Linyuan lost his mind? That was incredible. He was so powerful that the king was scared. As the king, he had nothing to be afraid of, but he could compare the ability of the two people. He knew perfectly well how capable Wu Bai was. He was on the same level as Gue Kalai, and the two of them were even fellow disciples. One was protecting the king, and the other was wandering around. But now, Jun Linyuan had grabbed Wu Bai by the throat before the latter could make a move. He was going to throttle Wu Bai. The Junwu Empire. That was unbelievable. Taking Feng Wu's hand, Feng Sun was shaking a little. He's not thinking straight anymore. He's driven mad by all the killing. Let's go. Hearing Feng Sun's words, the king turned to run. However, he then remembered who Feng Wu was and dragged her to his side. Quickly, let's go to the inner tower now. The only safe place in the world, now, was Patriarch Huyen's tower. Feng Wu threw the king's hand off. No, I'm not leaving. I'm going to keep him company. However, Feng Wu couldn't throw him off, which infuriated her. Thump! They heard the sound of something falling to the ground. The others turned around and saw that Jun Linyuan had smashed Wu Bai to the ground. He then charged at the king. Feng Sun's eyes widened, and the king panicked. Shit! What was Jun Linyuan doing? Before he could react, Jun Linyuan rushed over and grabbed him by the neck. The king was astonished. Feng Sun murmured in amazement. Shit! Even when Boss Jun has lost his mind, he's still that jealous. However, Feng Wu couldn't hear Feng Sun anymore, for she was already running toward Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu was exasperated. It didn't matter if Jun Linyuan killed anyone else, even if it was Princess Raoshi. There would still be a way out. However, if he killed the king of Northern Yin, the two sides would have to go to war. As a result, a lot of people would die. The Dongseng Kingdom would be laughing. In fact, in the Dongseng Kingdom, Night Owl was furious and was going to blow up the water curtain when he saw Jun Linyuan choking Wu Bai. Night Owl's stomach lurched, and he looked ecstatic. However, the next second, Jun Linyuan threw Wu Bai away and grabbed the king by the neck. Night Owl almost jumped to his feet. Chapter 39:29. Chapter 39:29. Lord Jing. Chapter 39:29. Lord Jing. Father, father. Night Owl called his father. However, his father was in seclusion and didn't reply, but someone did. It was Lord Jing, the sworn brother of the Dongseng Kingdom. Because of the Dongseng Kingdom's blood tax system, the king of Dongseng didn't have any brothers. His closest friend was only his sworn brother, Lord Jing. Had come to see the crown prince at the invitation of Mr. Sakia, and he heard the noise, so he walked in right away. The first thing he saw was the water screen. What? Was astonished. Emu, the king of Northern Yin, and had met Jun Linyuan before. He was astonished when he saw this. This can't be happening. Night Owl didn't have time to exchange pleasantries when he saw Lord Jing. He grabbed the latter's arm and said excitedly, It's true. My lord, it's happening. Lord Jing said, Has Jun Linyuan lost his mind? That's the king of Northern Yin. Night Owl laughed again. Yes, he has. As it turned out, Jun Linyuan has a hidden disease. Once he's cornered, the seal on him will be removed, and he'll go berserk. He'll kill everyone he sees, no matter who it is. Night Owl pointed at Jun Linyuan and laughed again. He can't recognize the king at all. All he wants to do is kill. He's a killer. But that's the Northern Yan's king. If Jun Linyuan kills the king in front of so many people, the rift between the Northern Yin Kingdom and the Junwu Empire will never go away. They'll never rest until one of them is destroyed. I bet they can fight for hundreds of years. Was equally excited. Grabbing Night Owl, he said, Quickly send Xiao. Northern Yin is going to be in a lot of trouble. Dongseng has so many advantages. Night Owl looked displeased when Xiao was mentioned. Was about to ask when he saw a dead body next to Jun Linyuan. Isn't that? Lord Jing cried out. Night Owl nodded and said solemnly, I've sent Xiao, and he has sacrificed his life for the Dongseng Kingdom. However, his death was worthwhile. As long as Northern Yin and Junwu fight for 100 years, he'll have a worthy death. Xiao isn't the only one we've lost. Patriarch Zhua, our long-term mole in the Junwu Empire, is dead as well. Jun Linyuan has completely destroyed the pawns we've kept trained. But don't worry. As long as Northern Yan's king is dead, we'll gain a lot. Has to digest so much information in such a short time. Xiao was dead, Jun Linyuan had gone insane, and Northern Yan's king was going to die. Quickly gathered all the information and nodded. You're right. If Northern Yan's king dies, the Dongsang kingdom will profit greatly. So, would Jun Linyuan kill the emperor? Wasn't it obvious? The people of the Northern Yan kingdom and the Dongsang kingdom all thought the same. Jun Linyuan was definitely going to kill him, because he had lost his mind. Seeing that Jun Linyuan wanted to kill her father, Princess Raoshi was worried sick as well. She wanted to marry Jun Linyuan. If Jun Linyuan killed her father, she and Jun Linyuan would become enemies for the rest of their lives. That couldn't happen. Chapter 39:30. Chapter 39:30. Jun Linyuan 1. Chapter 39:30. Jun Linyuan 1. At that thought, Princess Raoshi rushed to Jun Linyuan's side and pushed Feng Wu away while she was at it. Jun Linyuan, no. You can't kill my father. He's my father. Please, Jun Linyuan, please stop. Please stop for my sake. Princess Raoshi was really crying now. Not only that, but she had also knelt down. Jun Linyuan, who was choking the king, glanced at Princess Raoshi. One look, and Princess Raoshi was thrilled. The others were amazed. Could Jun Linyuan and Princess Raoshi really have something going? Were they very close? Otherwise, why would Jun Linyuan pause for a moment? The king was filled with hope as well. He didn't want to die. Jun. Princess Raoshi scrambled to her feet and wanted to run toward Jun Linyuan. She wanted to help Jun Linyuan come back to his senses. However, before Princess Raoshi could get close to Jun Linyuan, an earth-shattering shock wave charged at her. As a matter of fact, Jun Linyuan only flipped his sleeve impatiently. But to Princess Raoshi, it was fatal. Watch out! Princess Raoshi's guard blocked her way. The guard was smashed into a pulp. As for Princess Raoshi, she was luckier. The guard pushed her away, and when Jun Linyuan's shock wave reached her, it only pushed her further away. Everyone looked up. Princess Raoshi was flying away like a kite, and she was getting further and further away. She was nowhere to be seen in the end. Gone. Everyone was astonished. Only then did they realize how terrifying Jun Linyuan was. The king didn't even dare to make a sound. Seeing this, the head of the firmament palace moved further and further away. She hid behind a wall and waited for a chance. She wanted to run away because she knew that she couldn't let Jun Linyuan see her now. If he did, he would throttle her. She stayed because the capital of Northern Yan was going to become a killing ground. There would be rivers of blood and dead bodies everywhere. She had a lot of room to maneuver. The Firmament Palace had been secretly siding with the Dongsang Kingdom. As long as she helped the Dongsang Kingdom start a war between the two forces, the Firmament Palace would make a great contribution. But to her surprise, and to everyone's surprise, after Jun Linyuan threw Princess Raoshi away, someone else ran toward Jun Linyuan, and she wrapped her arms around him. She held him tightly from behind. It was Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan was about to throttle the king when Feng Wu rushed over and threw her arms around Jun Linyuan's waist. Oh God! Feng Sun was exasperated. The eldest prince was worried sick as well. Someone was going to die. She was such a pretty girl. To everyone's astonishment, Jun Linyuan, who had been tense and ready to kill, froze on the spot. The fire in his eyes seemed to have faded a lot. What was going on? Was Jun Linyuan going to stop? No. The old master of the Firmament Palace was the first to scream in her head. No. Night Owl, who was in the Dongsang Kingdom, drew in his breath as well. No. No. He can't stop. Chapter 39:31. Chapter 39:31. Jun Linyuan 2. Chapter 39:31. Jun Linyuan 2. Feng Wu wrapped her arms around Jun Linyuan's waist and said in a trembling voice, Jun Linyuan, it's me. Stop. It's me. She kept talking to Jun Linyuan. The king was the most nervous one. He thought he was going to lose his mind. Jun Linyuan had almost choked him. If Feng Wu had been a little slower, he would have been killed. But now, would Feng Wu's words work? Would Jun Linyuan pause for a moment and try again, like what he did to Raoshi? The king held his breath. Then he saw a slender hand. It showed up right under his nose. To be more precise, she had put her hand over Jun Linyuan's hand, which was on the king's throat. Feng Wu, who had been holding Jun Linyuan from behind, slowly walked around to face him. The king looked at Feng Wu and hoped that she would succeed. He then saw Feng Wu holding Jun Linyuan's hand with hers. Gradually, her fingers reached out and slowly wrapped around Jun Linyuan's fingers. The king almost couldn't breathe, but he still didn't dare to struggle, fearing that Jun Linyuan would be disturbed. Jun Linyuan looked like he was going to explode at any moment. Feng Wu was trying to calm him down, as if she was dealing with a giant beast that could go berserk at any moment. As Feng Wu moved, she kept her gaze on Jun Linyuan. She spoke softly, as if she was comforting a baby. Then, the king noticed that the fire in Jun Linyuan's eyes was gradually going out. Then, with a thump, he was tossed aside by Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan didn't use much force. All his attention was on Feng Wu. He kept his unblinking gaze on Feng Wu and caught all her attention. After the king was thrown to the ground, he forgot about the pain. Rising to his feet, he quickly ran out of the circle. Gosh, he almost peed his pants. He wiped away the cold sweat on the back of his neck. "Your Majesty," his guard stepped forward. The king silenced them with a wave of his hand, telling them not to disturb Jun Linyuan. What if he went berserk again? The king also gave the order, telling everyone to back off. Even Feng Sun was dragged away. The king glanced at Feng Sun. "What's going on with your crown prince?" Did he feel humiliated because Jun Linyuan had almost strangled him? According to the king's understanding, even a spiritual saint had been torn in half, but he was still able to come out of it alive. He was so lucky, and luck was part of one's capability. As a matter of fact, the king was intimidated by Jun Linyuan's capability. He didn't dare to hold Jun Linyuan responsible for what he did. If Jun Linyuan went berserk again and killed another spiritual saint with bare hands, how many spiritual saints would Northern Yin have left? Yes, they did have Patriarch Hu Yin, who could fight Jun Linyuan and had a high chance of winning. But the problem was that Patriarch Hu Yin doted on Feng Wu, not to mention that Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan were a couple. The king didn't know who the Patriarch would help if he and Jun Linyuan got into a fight. Chapter 39-32. Chapter 39-32. Only you can do it, 1. Chapter 39-32. Only you can do it, 1. It's me, Jun. It's me. Feng Wu threw herself into Jun Linyuan's arms and whispered in his ear. The fire in the teenager's eyes gradually died down. He seemed to have regained his senses. He caressed her face. "Are you all right?" Feng Wu nodded with tears in her eyes. I'm fine. The old master of the Firmament Palace was furious. Jun Linyuan seemed normal now. If he didn't lose his mind, he would. The old master looked at the dead bodies on the ground. They weren't just any dead bodies. They were all famous spiritual saints. At that thought, she had no choice but to draw in her breath and fight back her rage. The Dongseng Kingdom. Night Owl was furious when he saw Jun Linyuan caressing Feng Wu's cheek. Thump! He jumped up, and the water curtains splashed all over the ground. Lord Jing looked sorry as well. Why did things turn around in the end? Who's that girl? Why is she so influential to Jun Linyuan? Is she? My lord, please leave. Night Owl had to fight back his anger with all his effort. His voice was very soft, but he was furious. Seeing this, Lord Jing opened his mouth but didn't say anything in the end. He patted Night Owl on the shoulder, shook his head, and left. Night Owl turned to look at the manual that the mysterious person in black. To master the skill, one had to first. Time was running out. In 2 hours, the manual would self-destruct. Meanwhile, everyone in the Northern Yin Kingdom watched this in silence. Even Princess Raoshi, who had been kicked away, hobbled back and watched this. Jun Linyuan's cold eyes were twinkling as he stared at Feng Wu. He stood ramrod straight, and his eyes were as bright as stars. He looked very serious, as if he was making an oath. I kept my promise. He promised that he would protect her for the rest of his life, and he didn't go back on his word. The girl nodded repeatedly with tears in her eyes. Yes, you did. You've protected me well. Very well. It was just that it had cost him a lot. Seeing all the blood on Jun Linyuan, Feng Wu felt so sorry for him. Jun Linyuan beamed at her. His smile reminded her of dark clouds dissipating, and the sky was clear and blue. Feng Wu was about to tell him that she liked him a lot. However, before she could say that, Jun Linyuan swayed and fell into Feng Wu's arms. Jun Linyuan? Jun Linyuan? Feng Wu wrapped her arms around him and cried out, but Jun Linyuan didn't reply. Feng Sun and the others all ran in her direction. However, the master of the Firmament Palace, who was hiding behind the wall, narrowed her eyes. Jun Linyuan had fainted? Didn't that mean that Jun Linyuan was so weak now that she could do whatever she wanted to Feng Wu? The master of the Firmament Palace was over the moon. She would be so lucky if she could kill Jun Linyuan and Feng Wu now. She was about to charge out when she stopped. But what if Jun Linyuan was faking it? Feng Wu couldn't be more cunning. Chapter 39-33. Chapter 39-33. Only you can do it, too. Chapter 39-33. Only you can do it, too. Feng Wu couldn't be more cunning. The head of the Firmament Palace hesitated. When she finally made up her mind to charge out and kill Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan with a great destruction spell, all of a sudden, a figure landed from above. The head of the Firmament Palace froze on the spot when he saw who it was. She didn't dare to activate the skill anymore. Instead, she turned around and ran off. The person who scared her off was none other than Patriarch Huyin himself. He looked around and frowned. Those who were close to Feng Wu didn't think much of it when they saw the arrival of Patriarch Huyin, but those who didn't know the relationship between Feng Wu and him were terrified, especially the onlookers thousands of meters away. They all dropped to their knees and didn't dare to move. It was a sign of respect for the Patriarch. To them, Patriarch Yin was the pillar of the Northern Yin Kingdom. He was even more prestigious than their king and couldn't be offended. Patriarch Huyin glanced at the crowd, and everyone dropped to their knees. Even Feng Sun dropped to his knees and lowered his head. It was obvious that Patriarch Huyin was displeased. The king was on his knees, so why should Feng Wu be standing? Feng Sun was secretly alarmed. He couldn't afford to be careless. He had only been able to stay in the tower because of Xiao Wu. Without Xiao Wu, he would be nothing in front of Patriarch Huyin. Feng Wu was the only one who wasn't intimidated. Feng Wu was so anxious that she almost called him sixth senior brother. However, recalling what her sixth senior brother had told her, Feng Wu decided not to address him that way. According to her sixth senior brother, there were powerful enemies lurking in the dark. At that thought, Feng Wu said to Patriarch Huyin, "Please help me." Luckily, only a handful of people were close enough, such as Feng Sun, the eldest prince, and the king of the Northern Yin Kingdom. Anyone else would have been astonished by Feng Wu's tone. Seeing the blood on Feng Wu's face, Patriarch Huyin grew anxious. Feng Wu said, "Please help us." Patriarch Huyin nodded and took Feng Wu back to the tower. Holding Jun Linyuan in her arms, Feng Wu took him back to her room as soon as she landed, leaving Patriarch Huyin behind. Patriarch Huyin was speechless. He was a little frustrated when he saw Feng Wu run off. Meanwhile, Feng Sun grabbed the eagle, who was about to fly away. "Brother, eagle, please take me with you." The giant eagle didn't want to, but Feng Sun was hanging on its wing and wouldn't come off, for without the eagle, Feng Sun wouldn't be able to get in. The giant eagle stared at Feng Sun in resignation. "How am I supposed to fly when you're holding my wings? Hold my legs." The bird was a spiritual saint now. Feng Sun said, "Sure," in the tower. Feng Wu almost burst into tears when she cut open Jun Linyuan's black robe. His lean, fair body was covered with wounds, some old and some new. There were a few cuts so deep that she could see the bones. Feng Wu felt a lump in her throat. Taking a deep breath, she fought back her emotions and began to treat Jun Linyuan. However, internal injuries weren't as easy to treat as external ones. Chapter 39-34. Chapter 39-34. Only you can do it. 3. Chapter 39-34. Only you can do it. 3. June Linyuan still wouldn't wake up after 3 days. Feng Wu grew anxious and went to see Patriarch Huyen. Feng Wu knocked on the door. Patriarch Huyen was cultivating when he heard the knock on the door. He raised his chin proudly. Knock, knock, knock. There was another knock on the door. Patriarch Huyen deliberately kept a straight face and said in a low voice, "Enter." Feng Wu pushed the door open and walked in to find Patriarch Huyen cultivating with his legs crossed and his eyes closed, looking very haughty. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She slowly walked up to him and sat down in front of him. However, the old man only cared about his own cultivation and ignored her. Feng Wu didn't know what she had done to offend her sick senior brother, but she kept her gaze on him. The patriarch went on cultivating with his legs crossed. Feng Wu tugged at his sleeve. Patriarch Huyen didn't reply. Hence, Feng Wu moved closer and tugged at his sleeve again. Sixth senior brother? Sixth senior brother? Only then did Patriarch Huyen open his eyes a little. He glanced at Feng Wu, then closed them again. Feng Wu almost laughed. Why was her sixth senior brother so adorable? Sixth brother, please help me. Feng Wu wouldn't let him off the hook. She sat down next to him. Seeing that his eyes were closed, she tugged at his white beard. Cough, cough. The most capable man in Northern Yin Kingdom finally opened his eyes. He glanced at Feng Wu and snorted. Feng Wu sighed in resignation. Sixth senior brother, what did I do? Did I upset you? The old man said, Of course you didn't. You did a great job. Listen to that. Of course, he was upset about something. Feng Wu couldn't for the life of her figure out what had upset him, so she had to take his arm. Please don't be mad. Please don't be mad at me. I'm so sad. Feng Wu gave him a pitiful, weak, and helpless look. She knew how to do that. It just so happened that Patriarch Huyen hadn't been close to anyone in years, and he couldn't resist Feng Wu. His heart softened right away, and he mumbled grumpily, You don't need me any more now that you have a boyfriend. Feng Wu couldn't help but burst out laughing. The patriarch couldn't believe that she was laughing. Of course I need you. You're my favorite senior brother, Feng Wu said without hesitation. He was the only senior brother she knew, so she didn't feel any pressure. Patriarch Huyen was thrilled. Back then, they had all raised their little junior sister together. All the senior brothers had teased the girl with all kinds of gifts, making her say that one of them was her favorite senior brother. The girl had been very stubborn and wouldn't say anything. But now he was indeed the best senior brother to his junior sister. At the thought of how he had outshone all his senior brothers, Patriarch Huyen chuckled inwardly and was very pleased. Feng Wu knew that her words had worked. Let's go. Come with me. June Linyuan is so badly injured that you're the only one who can treat him. Feng Wu dragged her senior brother away. Chapter 39-35. Chapter 39-35. Save him one. Chapter 39-35. Save him one. Patriarch Huyen liked June Linyuan a little better than before. After all, he was his junior sister's favorite senior brother, and he had won the bet. He followed Feng Wu to see June Linyuan. He's suffering from a severe internal injury, said Patriarch Huyen. Feng Wu looked at him and nodded. Yes, that's right. Of course, she knew that June Linyuan had suffered from an internal injury. She had wrapped up all his external wounds, but his internal injury. Feng Wu could sense that June Linyuan's soul felt like a candle that was going to extinguish. She was worried that once the flame was extinguished, he would. Patriarch Huyen frowned and said, That internal injury isn't easy to treat. Tugging at his sleeve, Feng Wu pleaded with her eyes. Patriarch Huyen frowned. Feng Wu knew what he was worried about. Her pills alone wouldn't be enough to treat June Linyuan's internal injury. A capable cultivator had to inject their spiritual essence into June Linyuan's dantian, and that person had to be very capable. Feng Wu looked expectantly at the patriarch with twinkling eyes. Patriarch Huyin hesitated, for he himself was stuck at the breakthrough threshold. Spiritual essence could be recovered after consumption, but Jun Linyuan was a teenager, and who knew how much he could absorb? Patriarch Yin stroked his beard and murmured, "The more talented he is, the more spiritual essence he can absorb." He glanced at Feng Wu. Feng Wu immediately put on a sympathetic look and nodded obsequiously. Seeing that his junior sister understood him so well, Patriarch Yin felt much better. He mumbled again, "It's not easy for me to accumulate spiritual essence. I'm about to make a breakthrough." He didn't want to give away so much of his spiritual essence. Feng Wu pouted and looked very pitiful. Seeing that the girl wanted to say something but didn't want to upset him, Patriarch Yin felt sorry for her. He rubbed her head. "Do you really want me to treat him?" Feng Wu didn't know what to do either. Her senior brother was on the verge of a breakthrough, and Jun Linyuan's fate was hanging in the balance. Feng Wu began to waver. Gradually, she began to take Jun Linyuan's side. Sixth senior brother. The girl pursed her lips and stroked his beard. "You've waited so long for this breakthrough. Of course, it's more important than anything else. As for Jun Linyuan, he can just... Gosh, of course, he wouldn't let that happen." However, from what his junior sister said just then, Patriarch Yin was convinced that he was the most important person to her. Seeing that he still hadn't made up his mind, Feng Wu added, "When I see my beautiful master one day, I'll tell him that my sixth brother treats me very well." Patriarch Huyin shuddered at the mention of his master. That was right. When she talked to their master about it later, was she going to say that he wouldn't help her fiancé? Gosh, of course I'll help him. If his junior sister lost her love forever and cried in bed all by herself, he would blame himself even if his fellow senior brothers didn't beat him up. "Guard the door. Don't let anyone in." Chapter 39-37. Chapter 39-37. Jealous Teenager 1. Chapter 39-37. Jealous Teenager 1. Feng Wu looked at the Sky Destroyer in surprise and wondered what was wrong with it. That was rather scary. Just then, she heard a voice. Turning around, she saw that it was Patriarch Huyin. Hence, she waved at him. "Come here." Right now, Patriarch Huyin didn't look too well. His face was drained of all color, his eyes were glassy, and he was stumbling as he walked. He almost tripped when he walked up to Feng Wu. Feng Wu steadied him. Sixth senior brother. Feng Wu felt sorry for him. Why had the old man gone through? Before she knew it, the first thing she said was, "Sixth senior brother, did you come out of there? How's Jun Linyuan? I'll go check up on him." After that, Feng Wu was going to rush into the stone house. Patriarch Huyin infuriated. Didn't she say he was her favorite? Now that he was like this, she still only cared about her boyfriend. The Patriarch grabbed Feng Wu's arm. Feng Wu turned around. Sixth senior brother. Patriarch Huyin sounded a little jealous when he said, "Calm down. He's still absorbing the spiritual essence. What if you interrupt him and make him go berserk? Won't all my efforts go to waste?" Frightened, Feng Wu didn't dare to go any closer, but she still looked at Patriarch Huyin in excitement. "Senior brother, did you just say that Jun Linyuan had recovered? Is he all right now?" Patriarch Huyin glanced at Feng Wu and didn't really want to talk to his junior sister. But the girl wouldn't leave him alone. "Just tell me, sixth senior brother, what's going on with Jun Linyuan? Gosh, I'm so worried." Patriarch Huyin mumbled enviously. "Jun Linyuan, Jun Linyuan. All you ever say is Jun Linyuan." Feng Wu chuckled. Was he jealous? Her sixth senior brother looked like a little child now. However, her heart went out to Patriarch Huyin when she saw his silver hair and wrinkles on his smooth face. She then turned to her sixth senior brother with limpid eyes. Patriarch Huyin couldn't stand the look in his little sister's eyes. His little sister was the apple of his eye, and as her senior brother, he had to do whatever she wanted. It was only natural. Once he had made up his mind, he said, "Don't worry. Your lover is doing great." Do you know what he's like? Feng Wu looked at him in confusion. Patriarch Huyin glanced at Feng Wu and said aggrievedly, "He absorbs spiritual essence. Did you know that? He was really absorbing spiritual essence. I was only trying it first. I injected my spiritual essence into his body and was going to stimulate his dantian with it before taking my spiritual essence back. Do you know what happened in the end? His dantian was so vast that you couldn't see the bottom of it. When I injected my spiritual essence into it, it disappeared without a trace. Then, Feng Wu asked, then what? Patriarch Huyin heaved a sigh. Then I just wouldn't accept it. You know, I'm one of the most capable cultivators on this continent, and apart from a few old people, I don't think anyone is my match. But Chapter 39-38 Chapter 39-38 Jealous Teenager 2 Chapter 39-38 Jealous Teenager 2 But Jun Linyuan is such a genius. I injected half of my spiritual essence, but he didn't respond. I felt that something wasn't right, so I stopped trying. And guess what? Feng Wu's eyes widened, and she acted as if she was shocked. What happened? Patriarch Huyin smacked the table in frustration. That brat is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He was so cunning. He was pretending when he didn't respond to my spiritual essence. When I tried to take back my spiritual essence, I realized that I couldn't. Patriarch Huyin blushed in frustration. Feng Wu asked, "What? How?" And then? Patriarch Yin said angrily. Then it was a competition between Jun Linyuan and I. In the end, Feng Wu asked gingerly, "So, sixth senior brother, did you lose in the end?" Patriarch Yin cared about his reputation in front of his junior sister. How could he give in? Of course not. Viking never lost a battle, said Patriarch Huyin aggressively. Feng Wu said, "All right then." Patriarch Huyin was frustrated, but he had to admit it. But that Jun Linyuan guy is quite capable. I don't think he has lost either. Feng Wu looked curiously at him. Who won the competition then? However, the Patriarch was supposed to be more capable than Jun Linyuan, but he was a little angry now. Could it be? Patriarch Huyin patted Feng Wu on the head. "What are you thinking? Master, Mu's disciples are never going to lose." Feng Wu nodded and didn't think about it anymore. She raised Sky Destroyer and asked Patriarch Huyin, "Sixth senior brother, what's going on with this sword? It was so hot a moment ago, but it's completely silent now." Patriarch Huyin said grumpily, "The sword spirit inside that lousy sword is already damaged, which is as good as an idiot in human terms. You can take a new sword and the sword spirit." Wait. He was surprised when he saw the sword Feng Wu handed him. He was shocked. Feng Wu saw him shudder a little. "Sixth senior brother?" Feng Wu looked at him in bewilderment. Patriarch Huyin's face gradually turned from pale to pink. He suddenly turned around and stared at Feng Wu with a look that Feng Wu couldn't understand. The look gave Feng Wu the creeps. "What's wrong?" Staring at Feng Wu, Patriarch Huyin was so excited that his beard was twitching. "Your sword spirit isn't an idiot. Not only that, but it has also mutated." Feng Wu said, "Mutated? What's going on? Why did it mutate? Is it good or bad?" Unable to control his excitement, Patriarch Yin said loudly, "Of course it's for the better. It's a divine weapon now. Do you know what that means?" Feng Wu asked. "A semi-divine weapon." Patriarch Huyin was so excited that he swore. "Bullshit. Not a semi-divine weapon. It's going to become a divine one." Seeing the confused look on Feng Wu's face, Patriarch Huyin stared at her anxiously. "Do you still remember our master's ruler?" Feng Wu shook her head in confusion. Patriarch Huyin said anxiously, "The ruler our master used to smack us when we dozed off in our study time. Remember that?" Feng Wu shook her head in bewilderment. Was her beautiful master that strict before? Patriarch Huyin sighed. "It doesn't matter. You just need to know that it's very likely that the sword will become a divine weapon." Chapter 39-39 Chapter 39-39 Jealous Jun Linyuan Chapter 39-39 jealous Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu asked, "How did you know that?" Patriarch Yin said decisively, "Because the Sky Destroyer already contains a divine embryo. When the time is right, it'll turn into a divine weapon." Feng Wu was amazed. "Really?" Master Huyin rolled his eyes at Feng Wu. "Of course." Feng Wu immediately took out her fallen star sword and showed it to Patriarch Huyin. "Please have a look. Is there a divine embryo inside?" Feng Wu looked expectantly at him. "Fallen star sword?" After examining it carefully, he handed it back to Feng Wu. Feng Wu kept her expectant gaze on Patriarch Huyin. However, he only patted Feng Wu on the shoulder before walking away. The look on his face. Of course, Feng Wu could tell. The fallen star sword wasn't a divine embryo. Feng Wu's face darkened. On second thought, she realized that Sky Destroyer didn't have a divine embryo in the first place. It had only become one by sheer luck after the narrow escape. Therefore, she still had a chance with her fallen star sword. At that thought, Feng Wu looked expectant. All of a sudden, Feng Wu felt a pair of eyes on her, and she looked up in the direction of the gaze. Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu was elated to see Jun Linyuan, and she hopped toward him like a rabbit. She had no idea how long Jun Linyuan had been there, nor did she know what he saw, but he didn't look too happy. Feng Wu didn't notice it. She was thrilled to see Jun Linyuan come out. "Why did you walk out on your own? Aren't you badly injured? Won't it affect your internal injury? You look pale. You don't look well." Feng Wu rushed to his side and asked all the questions in a concerned tone. Only then did Jun Linyuan look a little better. Feng Wu frowned. "Sixth senior brother said that you were mostly recovered, but you don't look much better. He lied to me." Jun Linyuan frowned. "Sixth senior brother? Gosh!" Feng Wu wanted to slap herself. She had blurted out that secret in a moment of desperation. Her sixth senior brother had told her that her master still had enemies lurking in the dark and that no one should know about the sect. But Jun Linyuan, although he knew that Jun Linyuan would keep it a secret. No, she couldn't tell Jun Linyuan because once the secret was revealed, it wouldn't be a secret anymore. Feng Wu stuck out her tongue involuntarily and smiled obsequiously. She then changed the subject. "Hey, why are you out here? You're so badly injured. We don't want you to catch a cold. Here, let me help you inside." After that, Feng Wu tried to hold Jun Linyuan's arm. However, as soon as her hand touched Jun Linyuan's arm, Jun Linyuan threw it off with a livid face. The teenager then went back into the room with a cold look in his eyes and slammed the door shut behind him. He closed the door. Feng Wu's mouth fell open when she saw what he did. "Jun Linyuan, you're so grumpy." But it wasn't too shocking because that was what Jun Linyuan used to be like. He would get angry when things didn't go his way, and when he was angry, he would lock himself up and wouldn't see anyone. Recently, Jun Linyuan had been too kind to her, which gave her the impression that he was a mild-tempered man. As a matter of fact, the Crown Prince had always been very grumpy. Feng Wu thought to herself. However, it was so humiliating to be left outside like this. Luckily, no one saw it. Moreover, Feng Wu knew Jun Linyuan well enough to know that he was quick to flare up, but he was also easy to appease. The longer she waited, the harder it would be to appease him. Therefore, she had to put out the fire before it exploded. At that thought, Feng Wu was about to knock on the door. A voice rang out next to her. Turning around, Feng Wu saw that it was the giant eagle. Right now, it was leaning against a stone wall with its wings crossed and grinning at Feng Wu. That was to say, had it seen everything? That was so humiliating. Feng Wu thought to herself. "Stop laughing," Feng Wu said grumpily. The giant eagle looked at Feng Wu up and down in amazement, as if it was looking at some strange creature. Feng Wu rolled her eyes. "Shut up." The giant eagle walked away, trembling. It was obviously trying to suppress its laughter. Feng Wu also saw a little phoenix standing on its head and talking to it. The giant eagle said, "Wow, I didn't know that little phoenix could do that." Little Phoenix was referring to Feng Wu. The giant eagle wanted to call Feng Wu Little Phoenix. That way, Feng Wu would be in the same category as them, and sound much closer. Little Phoenix didn't know what to say. Don't flatter yourself. The giant eagle said, I think she's going to knock on the door and go in. Little Phoenix didn't know what to say. Don't be so ignorant. It had seen a lot of such things before. The giant eagle said, I just don't get it. She's a girl. Why would she try to appease him? It's so humiliating. Little Phoenix glanced at the eagle. You don't understand. The giant eagle asked curiously. I'd like to hear about it. Little Phoenix glanced at it and said casually, just remember that little phone. Wu has never been defeated before. The giant eagle said, but isn't June Lin Yuan in total control? Yeah. Little Phoenix stuck out a paw. No, June Lin Yuan is totally under control. The giant eagle said, I don't understand. Little Phoenix rolled its eyes at it. That's why you're such an idiot. Just be humble and admit your defeat. The giant eagle exploded when it heard the first part. Who are you calling an idiot? I'm a level 2 spiritual saint. Come and fight me. Little Phoenix's face turned green. Feng Wu watched as they walked away. She stared at the stone door and was about to knock when she recalled what the giant eagle said. She was a girl. Why did she have to comfort him every time? She felt so wronged when he lost his temper for no reason. And he always lost his temper for no reason. That was so frustrating. I won't live with it anymore. He can stay angry inside. Feng Wu stormed off and went back to the refinery. Feng Wu only realized that she was still holding Sky Destroyer when she sat down. Sky Destroyer was repaired, but she could see the cracks on the blade. Feng Wu recalled what happened in front of the temple. June Lin Yuan had gone to the Hua family for her. He had gone to the Hua family for her. She was also the reason that June Lin Yuan had come to Northern Yan for the duel despite his injury. Despite the fact that he had gone berserk, June Lin Yuan still told her that he had kept his promise. She gradually calmed down. Slowly, she began to feel sorry for June Lin Yuan. Feng Wu thought to herself, he's just this unruly, arrogant, domineering, and overbearing man. Why would I take it for granted that he'll be as mild-tempered as a normal person? So be it. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead and told herself not to be mad. There was something wrong with being a genius. No one was perfect. Feng Wu stood outside the room with the Sky Destroyer in her arms again. As for whether the eagle would laugh at her or not, it didn't matter. She could stand the humiliation. It wouldn't cost her anything. Feng Wu comforted herself in her head. She knocked on the door. There was no reply. She knocked again. It was very quiet, and no one responded. But Feng Wu knew that June Lin Yuan was inside, because she could hear his breathing. Brother June? Brother June, it's me. Open up. To be honest, Feng Wu felt ashamed to call him that. She looked around, fearing that the eagle would burst into laughter. Brother June, please open the door. The teenager inside blushed a little, wondering why she spoke in that way. He couldn't understand how the girl could be so shameless. The teenager opened the door with an expressionless face. He stared at Feng Wu with a stern look on his face. However, the petite girl had a bright smile on her face. Her smile was warm, and her voice was so soft that he thought he could taste honey in his mouth. Tugging at the teenager's sleeve, she smiled. Brother June, are you hungry? Are you in pain? Hungry. Pain. Was she trying to appease a 3-year-old? The teenager tried his best to keep his face emotionless. He was going to throw a dirty look at the girl and make her run away, for he felt so wronged. However, as soon as he said, I don't want to see, before he could finish, the girl ran into the room from under his armpit. June Lin Yuan didn't know what to say. Was his voice not cold enough? June Lin Yuan closed the door and stared at Feng Wu. By then, Feng Wu had sat down on a stone stool at the table. Resting her chin on her hand, she beckoned at him. Come here. Sit with me. Her smile reminded him of a warm spring day, and he couldn't resist. Although he still felt conflicted, he couldn't control his instinct to stay close to the warmth. But he was still angry. Feng Wu rose to her feet and hopped toward them like a bunny. It just so happened that she had 2 bunny ears on her pink cape today. The fluffy white fur looked as bright as her smile. You're still recovering, and you can't stand there for too long. Sit down. Don't hurt yourself again. Sit down. Taking his hand, Feng Wu sat him down. Jun Linyuan remained unperturbed. He raised his chin and wouldn't look at the girl. The teenager had fair skin and was graceful and elegant. He looked like a noble young master who had come from a rich family. But in the blink of an eye, he could create mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Even the emperor of a powerful country blanched at his presence. Right now, he looked as awkward as a child. Feng Wu found it hilarious. However, she only dared to laugh inwardly and didn't dare to let it show, for she feared that the crown prince would run away in frustration. "Why are you smiling?" the teenager asked arrogantly. Luckily, Feng Wu was mild-tempered today. If she were more straightforward, she would have retorted right away, saying, "It's none of your business." Feng Wu smiled at Jun Linyuan. "I'm smiling because you're handsome." Gosh, Feng Wu only said it in passing, but the teenager's earlobes almost turned pink. "I don't know what you're talking about." The teenager looked away. Feng Wu smiled and tugged at Jun Linyuan's sleeve. "Well, we're not mad anymore, are we?" "I am mad." Feng Wu tugged at his sleeve. "Brother Jun, please don't be mad at me." The teenager didn't look back, but he didn't say no either. Feng Wu knew that he had softened. She ran to Jun Linyuan's side, crouched down, and looked up with her limpid eyes. "Brother Jun, don't be mad anymore. Please." She reminded him of an aggrieved kitten. The teenager couldn't stand it, and he couldn't keep his face straight anymore. Seeing this, Feng Wu knew that he was appeased, so she went on. "Brother Jun, let me check your pulse. I need to know how you're doing, or I'll be worried." She tried to grab Jun Linyuan's wrist after that, and Jun Linyuan didn't push her away. He snorted inwardly, so she cared about him. While Feng Wu closed her eyes and concentrated on checking Jun Linyuan's pulse, he kept his unblinking gaze on her beautiful profile in an almost greedy way. He looked out of the window as soon as she opened her eyes, as if he couldn't be bothered to look at her. Feng Wu didn't notice that. After checking his pulse, Feng Wu let out a breath of relief. "That's good." Feng Wu was relieved. "It's not getting worse, but it's still quite serious because you've added more wounds to your old injury. It'll take you a long time to recover from them. Luckily, your life is no longer in danger." Jun Linyuan nodded coldly and still wouldn't give Feng Wu a smile. He was very proud. Feng Wu didn't seem to notice his cold face at all. She only took his hand and reminded him repeatedly, "I'm begging you. Don't use force for the next 3 months. Don't do it again. Remember?" The teenager feigned an aloof attitude and looked out of the window. Feng Wu pretended that she couldn't see it and smiled. "You're more important than anything else. Taking care of you is my top priority now. Don't worry. I'll be responsible for you to the end." The teenager nodded and stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu said earnestly, "I'll take good care of you. I'll make your meals, wash your clothes, and serve you tea. I'll make sure that you're properly looked after." Chapter 3940. Chapter 3940. Precious. Chapter 3940. Precious. "I promise you that you won't have to lift a finger. I'll take care of you when you're in danger, and I'll beat your enemy up when you're provoked. Anyway, just sit there and be the young master. I'll take care of everything for you." Jun Linyuan didn't know what to say. He looked away again. Feng Wu said, "Just leave your body to me." The crown prince was speechless. The girl was so explicit. However, Jun Linyuan was displeased at first, but when he saw how concerned the girl was, he was almost appeased. The girl suddenly smiled bitterly. There was a guilty look on her face, and her voice sounded lonely. "Actually, I'm not in the position to say that because you've been severely injured because of me. You've been injured over and over again. You're the crown prince, the hope of all the people of the Junwu Empire, and the treasure of many people." "I'm not anyone's treasure," the teenager said coldly. "There's no one." Other people wouldn't quite make out what Jun Linyuan meant, but Feng Wu understood. By that, he meant that no one cherished him. Feng Wu felt so sorry for him that she blurted out, "If no one cherishes you, what?" The teenager's bright eyes immediately fixed on Feng Wu. Feng Wu's head went blank, and she immediately calmed down. What was she supposed to say? Feng Wu immediately corrected herself. I don't think that's the right thing to say. Her Majesty will be the first to say no. Jun Linyuan looked disappointed and didn't know what to say. He smirked and stopped talking. Feng Wu cleared her throat and tried to change the subject. Jun Linyuan, why were you so angry just then? You weren't happy to see me, were you? Jun Linyuan said, Yes, I'm not happy to see you. Feng Wu glared at Jun Linyuan, and Jun Linyuan stared back at her. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 10 seconds. Feng Wu couldn't help but burst out laughing. With that, the mood in the room changed. She couldn't stop laughing. Having been persuaded by Feng Wu, the teenager didn't have much anger left and had been pretending to be angry. After what Feng Wu said, he couldn't keep his face straight anymore. Tell me, why were you angry? I care about you a lot. You were so badly injured that I couldn't save you from your internal injury. I had to beg Patriarch Huyin to save you. He also gave me the Sky Destroyer so that I could repair it. Otherwise, you won't be able to recover from your injury. After that, I went to the refinery and started repairing it. Do you think Sky Destroyer is that easy to repair? No, it's so difficult. To repair it, I stole 6. Patriarch Huyin's divine iron. I wonder if he'll kill me if he finds out, Feng Wu said aggrievedly. The more Jun Linyuan listened, the more he smiled. But when Feng Wu looked at him, he pursed his lips. Therefore, Feng Wu had no idea how happy the teenager was. So, you do care about me after all. Oomph. The teenager thought proudly. Little Feng Wu, you're still too young to understand what I mean. You're showing me concern, and you're in love with. Ahem, I'll give you some pointers when I have time. The more he thought about it, the more pleased the crown prince was. He was so pleased that Feng Wu could see the smile on his face. Jun Linyuan, you're smiling. Feng Wu was pleasantly surprised. Jun Linyuan glanced at her and denied it outright. No, Feng Wu said. Yes, you are. I saw it. Not only are you smiling, but you're also very pleased with yourself. Tell me, what are you laughing at me for? Jun Linyuan said, You little fool. Feng Wu was furious. I care about you so much, but you're laughing at me in your head. I'm so mad. Jun Linyuan grunted in satisfaction, but he still had questions. What's your relationship with Patriarch Huyin? He cut to the chase and kept his gaze on Feng Wu, giving her no chance to run away. That's a good question, Feng Wu said earnestly. Jun Linyuan crossed his legs. You can run away and choose not to tell me. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. Really? The crown prince smiled at her. Feng Wu mumbled, I knew it. I knew it. Jun Linyuan, you're such a tyrant. The tyrant looked at her in satisfaction. Feng Wu racked her brain. First of all, she had let it slip when she called Patriarch Huyin's sick senior brother, so she couldn't keep it a secret anymore. If she told Jun Linyuan the truth. If she didn't tell Jun Linyuan the truth. Feng Wu turned around and looked at Jun Linyuan in silence. Right now, he was also looking at Feng Wu with a serious look on his face that she had never seen before. Feng Wu sighed and said in the end, If you really want to know, I can tell you, but it's the biggest secret of my life. Once you know it, you'll be mine, Jun Linyuan coughed. Feng Wu said, I mean that once you know the secret, you're on my side. Got it. Jun Linyuan nodded and sounded impatient. All right. But he kept repeating Feng Wu's words in his head. Feng Wu said in a serious tone, Listen carefully. I'm a genius teenage girl and an influential figure. You heard me right. Patriarch Huyin is my 6th senior brother. She was right. Jun Linyuan frowned a little. 6th senior brother? Feng Wu gloated. Yes. Asked, how many more senior brothers are there? Feng Wu said, 5, obviously. Jun Linyuan asked, What's the point of having so many senior brothers? Is there no senior sister? Feng Wu chuckled. I've asked him the same question. He said that there were no senior sisters, but only senior brothers, and they were all very capable. By the way, do you know who my 3rd senior brother is? Jun Linyuan asked who. Feng Wu chuckled like a little mouse. It's Chu Tianxiao. Jun Linyuan was genuinely surprised. Patriarch Huyin and Chu Tianxiao were both influential figures on this continent since ancient times. Although Jun Linyuan was very capable now, he could only defeat a few intermediate spiritual saints. At his current level, he wasn't strong enough to fight off someone like Patriarch Huyin. Jun Linyuan said, "Your master is Mu." Feng Wu nodded. Jun Linyuan stared at Feng Wu. "Your sect is quite impressive." Feng Wu nodded, looking pleased with herself. "That's right. But my sixth senior brother said that I couldn't tell anyone about it, nor could he openly acknowledge me as his junior sister. That's because my master's enemy is out there, and I'm the weakest. The enemy may find me." Jun Linyuan's eyes darkened. "Is your master still alive?" Feng Wu said, "Of course." Jun Linyuan said, "But he can't come out." Feng Wu asked, "How do you know?" Jun Linyuan patted Feng Wu on the head. "You'll be so pleased if he comes out." Feng Wu glanced at him. "I'm not that shallow." Jun Linyuan said, "You'll only be more." Feng Wu said, "Hey, Jun Linyuan, are you looking for a beating?" Jun Linyuan patted Feng Wu on the head with a smile on his face, but deep down, he was very competitive. "Mu Jiuzhou, Mu Jiuzhou, Mu Jiuzhou." He recited that name in his head. Feng Wu tugged at Jun Linyuan's arm and looked at him eagerly. "What?" Jun Linyuan asked. Feng Wu said, "That's a shared secret between the two of us. You can't tell anyone, or I'll die. I'm putting my life in your hands now. I didn't want to tell you, but when I saw you, I couldn't help telling you everything." "Hey, Jun Linyuan, stop smiling." The teenager smiled, and it was the brightest smile Feng Wu had ever seen. He rubbed the girl's head and said, "Just wait for me. One day, I'll be more powerful than Mu Jiuzhou. When that happens, no one will be able to threaten you anymore." Jun Linyuan wasn't only talking to Feng Wu, but it was for himself as well. He couldn't bring himself to see his girl living in danger forever. Because of that, he was going to become the most capable man in the world. He would then kneel on one knee and ask for her hand in marriage. "I'll protect you forever." At that thought, Jun Linyuan smiled again. What Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan didn't know was that the entire tower was Patriarch Huyin's magical instrument. Naturally, he could hear their conversation. Patriarch Huyin thought, "I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the two of you were careless with your words. You can't blame me?" He was displeased when he heard that his junior sister had shared such an important secret with. He mumbled, "I told her repeatedly not to tell anyone, but she still said it. She's not on my side anymore." Patriarch Huyin felt that he had to vent his anger on someone. He couldn't stay in this tower anymore. He ran into Feng Wu on his way out. Feng Wu greeted him cheerfully. Sixth senior brother, putting his hands behind his back, Patriarch Huyin raised his chin. "Oomph." He then stormed off. Feng Wu scratched her head. What's wrong with him now? Meanwhile, in the northern Yan's palace, in the study, the king hadn't calmed down yet. Because it was such a big deal, all the high-ranking officials came to see him, but the king sent them away so that he could pretend that nothing had happened. He let out a breath of relief after everyone was gone. What an undeserved catastrophe. Because of what happened, Emperor Yin gave the order to get to the bottom of it. He then obtained the information. Princess Raoshi had joined hands with the Dongseng Kingdom, as well as the Zhuo family, the Hua family, and the Firmament Palace of the Junwu Empire. The five forces had joined hands to hunt Feng Wu down, but Feng Wu had escaped. Jun Linyuan, on the other hand, had gone to the Zhuo family of Jingyang and the Hua family of Flower Valley. He had almost killed their old masters. The king felt a chill run down his spine. "Raoshi, you almost destroyed this kingdom." Emperor Yin smashed a stack of paper on the table with a loud thump. "Bring Princess Raoshi here," Emperor Yin said angrily. However, as soon as he said that, a voice came from outside. "Princess Raoshi is here." Emperor Yin smirked. "How dare she? Get her ass in here." Princess Raoshi entered the room in tears. "Father!" She ran to a spot 10 meters away from the king and inched toward him. "Father, father, please don't be sad. You have to take care of yourself." The king was dumbfounded. What is she talking about? He looked at her in bewilderment and asked, Why should I be sad? Princess Raoshi comforted him in a hurry. Father, there are more fish in the sea. Why fall in love with a single woman? That frivolous Feng Wu is so infuriating. Wait. The king pointed at Princess Raoshi. Speak like a normal person. Why do you say Feng Wu is so frivolous? Princess Raoshi said, Isn't Feng Wu your concubine? The king's face was ghastly pale. He kicked Princess Raoshi and said, Nonsense. Since when is she my concubine? I'll kill you if you say that. Princess Raoshi said, But father, don't you dote on her. I'm not worth it. Before Raoshi could finish, the king said, One more word, and I'll rip your tongue out. To be honest, he had never considered Feng Wu in that way. Yes, she was beautiful, but he didn't deserve her. If he dared to have such thoughts, the patriarch would probably tear him to pieces. Princess Raoshi was dumbfounded. Why was this happening? Wasn't his father in love with Feng Wu? Feng Wu and were cuddling in broad daylight. Why wasn't his father angry yet? Or was her father faking it? Raoshi looked up at the emperor, trying to see if he was telling the truth. She looked into the king's eyes and saw that he was furious. Why wouldn't she believe him? Infuriated, the king kicked Princess Raoshi. Princess Raoshi slid backward until she reached the door. The door was blocked by the threshold, or she would have been outside by now. But that was enough to make her burst into tears and pain. The king pointed at her and scolded her. Say that again. I dare you. If the patriarch wanted to, nothing could escape his eyes in northern Yen. However, Raoshi had said such things about him. Feng Wu was his concubine. Forget it. He didn't even dare to think about it. Chapter 39:41. Chapter 39:41. Father's Mind. Chapter 39:41. Father's Mind. Only then did Princess Raoshi realize that her father was afraid. Why was his father so scared when Feng Wu was mentioned? Father, are you afraid of Jun Linyuan? That couldn't be. Princess Raoshi thought. Jun Linyuan is indeed very powerful, but that was after he went berserk. If he hasn't lost control, Jun Linyuan is an advanced spiritual saint, isn't he? Father shouldn't be so scared. The king wanted to kick her again. Was his daughter born to take revenge from him? Why did she have to bring it up? One Feng Wu was already frustrating enough, but now Jun Linyuan was mentioned. The two of them put together. It gave the king a headache. Go away. The king didn't want to see Princess Raoshi. Father, about me marrying Jun Linyuan. Princess Raoshi said hastily. The king gave her a "you idiot" look. What did you say? Princess Raoshi said. Father, have you forgotten? You agreed to let me marry Jun Linyuan, even if I'm only his concubine. Are you an idiot? The king couldn't stand it anymore and gave her a "you idiot" look. I used to think that you were brilliant, Raoshi, and I even had the idea of making you the next king. But now, I'm so glad that I didn't do that. If I had, the Northern Yin Kingdom would have been destroyed. Princess Raoshi was so angry that her face turned red. The king said, Do you really think that no one knows what you've been doing behind my back? Do you really think that I don't know that you've joined hands with the Junwu Empire's Firmament Palace, the Zhou family, and the Hua family to assassinate Feng Wu? Father, actually, the king said, Do you really think that you can do whatever you want without consequences? Do you think that the world should revolve around you? Do you think that Jun Linyuan is magnanimous enough to make you his concubine? Princess Raoshi's face turned even paler. Father, I can explain. Jun Linyuan probably only cares about Feng Wu out of consideration. I have a source of information. The two of them. When Raoshi opened it, she saw that it was a letter from Jun Linyuan. The letter contained a detailed description of what she had done, and the king was told to keep an eye on Feng Wu for a while. Jun Linyuan also said that he would pay Princess Raoshi a visit in a few days. The king pointed at Princess Raoshi. Don't tell me you think Jun Linyuan is going to chat with you over tea. Frightened, Princess Raoshi dropped to her knees. What does he want to do? So, her father was on Feng Wu's side because of Jun Linyuan's letter. She still remembered the threatening words in the letter. If he didn't do as he was told, he would become the enemy of the Junwu Empire for 100 years. One day, Jun Linyuan would arrive at the city and annihilate northern Yin. Blood would flow like rivers. There will be blood everywhere. The Empire will be our enemy for 100 years. Jun Linyuan made that promise because he wanted to protect Feng Wu. How can you say that Jun Linyuan was only caring about the girl's feelings? Are you going to lie to me again? The king was shaking from head to toe. God knew how furious he was when he read the threats in the letter. As a king, he couldn't wait to take action when he was threatened like this. He wanted to go straight to the Junwu Empire and kill the emperor. The king used to be a hot-blooded young man as well. However, he saw the battle in the temple. Seeing Jun Linyuan in his berserk state and how close Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan were to each other, the king knew that the Northern Yin kingdom was doomed. Luck wasn't on Northern Yan's side. It was with the Junwu Empire. Why should he compete with fate? He didn't have a death wish. This time, Princess Raoshi was genuinely frightened. She burst into tears. I didn't know. I didn't know that they would find out. I really didn't know. The king waved her off. Leave. Princess Raoshi panicked. Father, please help me. I'll make up for it. Even if I can't marry Jun Linyuan, there's still Feng's son. I'm willing to marry Feng. Son. The king took a deep breath. Marry Feng's son. Princess Raoshi nodded. The king had to take a deep breath to fight back his rage. Marry Feng Nun? I don't know if you'll survive Jun Linyuan's rage yet. I don't you will. The king remembered that Feng Wu had said before that she didn't like Jun Linyuan and that they weren't a couple. He hoped that was the case. He hoped that God would give Northern Yin a chance. Lock Princess Raoshi up. The king waved his hand. I'll deal with her later. No matter how hard Princess Raoshi cried, the king didn't give in this time. He only cared about the kingdom. With his hands behind his back, Patriarch Huyin walked along the main street. Patriarch Huyin was usually either in the tower or in seclusion, and only a handful of people from the royal family had ever seen him. Therefore, no one recognized him when he walked on the street with his hands behind his back. Patriarch Huyin went to the stingy shop. The old man almost tripped when he saw the patriarch. After that, he became even more obsequious and cautious. Patriarch Huyin was here to vent his sarcasm, not to see someone kneel on the ground. He was soon bored. Waving his hand, he walked away. However, as soon as he left, the old man fell to the ground. Huyin Ichin said, Grandpa. Old Huyin asked, what was the patriarch doing here? Huyin Ichin was at a loss as well. The patriarch had never visited this shop before, so why? All of a sudden, Huyin Ichin smacked his forehead. Grandpa, do you remember? I came here to ask you to help Xiao Wu during the battle in the temple. You weren't there, were you? Is the patriarch here to blame you? Old Huyin asked what? He was so anxious, but he really wasn't there. If he had been, he would have helped Feng Wu. This was bad. Meanwhile, Patriarch Huyin had no idea how difficult it was for him to find someone to complain to. All his old friends were either dead or in deep sleep, and only a few of them were still active in the world. It was so difficult to even talk to them. Before he knew it, he was in the Imperial Palace. The king had just locked up Princess Raoshi, and he was going to talk to Feng Wu to see if Raoshi could be spared. If it was up to Jun Linyuan, Raoshi would be dead. He was still thinking about it when a figure dressed in gray walked into the Imperial Palace. The king felt a chill run down his spine and turned his head involuntarily. Patriarch, the king cried out and blanched. The patriarch thought, look at how scared he is. How am I supposed to chat to him? Now that he was in the mood, he wanted to live like a normal person, but it was so difficult. What are you doing here? Please take a seat. After all, the king was much more level-headed than the others. When he saw the patriarch, he only shuddered a little at first, but was soon back to normal, albeit a little more respectful than usual. Patriarch Huyin thought that the king was a reasonable man that he could talk to, so he sat down. Serve my best tea. The king gave the eunuch a glance. The eunuch knew how to read faces. He nodded and went out to make some tea. Oh God, it was Patriarch Huyin. The eunuch felt his knees buckle. Patriarch Huyin paid no attention to any of this. He sat there, looking rather dispirited. The king was thrilled. That was the patriarch. He had been the king for so many years, but he had only seen the patriarch a handful of times. The patriarch usually wouldn't come in person when he had instructions, but would only send the message through his mind. It was always a one-way command. Therefore, in the king's mind, the patriarch was a lofty, unapproachable god. But now, he looked a little like a human being. Why did he feel like a human now? This was big news. The king crouched down next to Patriarch Huyen. He didn't dare to sit. Patriarch Huyen gave him a sidelong glance. Sit. The king hesitated. He didn't think he was qualified to sit. Patriarch Huyen rolled his eyes at him. If the king wasn't going to sit down, was he going to raise his head like this the entire time? Seeing that the patriarch was displeased, the king sat down without hesitation. However, he only dared to sit at the edge of the chair. At that moment, he finally knew how the officials felt around him. He was so nervous. However, the idea of having only one patriarch as their patron immediately appeased the king. Patriarch Yin had no idea that his presence was giving the king so much pressure. Right now, the chief eunuch was bringing him some tea, and he was stirring the tea in the cup. The king panicked a little. The patriarch had shown up out of the blue and was going to have a nice chat with him. Was the patriarch going to remove him from the throne? The more he thought about it, the more flustered he became. He and his senior eunuch exchanged looks and both saw panic in each other's eyes. Just then, Patriarch Huyen finally sighed. The king was dumbfounded. Speak. No, please don't say anything. I don't want to know. He was still fidgeting when Patriarch Huyen asked, "What do you think of that boy from the Jun family?" The boy from the Jun family? Who was that? Jun Linyuan? The king stammered. Patriarch Huyen threw a dirty look at him. How scary. The king's stomach lurched as he racked his brain. Why did the patriarch suddenly ask about Jun Linyuan? What did he think of Jun Linyuan? The patriarch was from the northern Yin kingdom, and Jun Linyuan was from the Junwa Empire. The patriarch might not be happy to have such a genius, because it meant that the northern Yin kingdom would have a great threat in the future. It just so happened that Jun Linyuan and Feng Wu's relationship was so complicated that there was something strange about it. Moreover, Feng Wu was the patriarch's favorite junior sister. So, what should he say to make the patriarch happy? Before the king could figure it out, Patriarch Huyen spoke first. The old man sighed. That Jun Linyuan isn't all that nice. He just looks all right, doesn't he? The king was thrilled. The patriarch didn't like Jun Linyuan at all. That was great. The king nodded immediately. That's right. He's not all that good-looking. Patriarch Huyen rubbed his chin and said, I don't think his cultivation level is very high either. Well, about that, the king said, that's right. Her cultivation level is mediocre. Patriarch Huyen said, he's not a good person either. The king said, that's right. He has a bad temper and can go berserk. So, the patriarch didn't like Jun Linyuan. If that was the case, then, before the king could finish feeling excited, Patriarch Huyen rolled his eyes at him. Are you blind? The patriarch stared at the king. The king was speechless. Patriarch Huyen said, you can't find anyone that looks like Jun Linyuan on this continent. The king was shaking from head to toe. Patriarch Huyen said, there's also his cultivation level and his talent. If you find another like him, I'll let you be the patriarch. The king blanched. He was almost in tears. He thought, Patriarch, you said it yourself that Jun Linyuan wasn't all that good. I was only siding with you. Why did he scold me? Patriarch Huyen glared at the king. Are you not happy with what I said? The king said hastily, no, of course not. But he couldn't bring himself to say it. Patriarch, you set the tone yourself. Why is all my fault? An idea struck him all of a sudden. He knew what was going on. Wasn't this how a father-in-law would treat a son-in-law? He was picky about his son-in-law's faults, but when other people criticized the latter, he wouldn't have it. However, he wouldn't stop picking on his son-in-law. Deep down, the patriarch was just a little jealous. As expected, Patriarch Huyen spoke again. That's right. He can go berserk. What if he injures Xiao Wu next time? Plus, he's going to be the emperor one day. What if he mistreats the girl? And Seeing the patriarch ramble on like an ordinary father, the king was amazed. He didn't know how to react. Chapter 3942. Chapter 3942. Back in Northern Border City. Chapter 3942. Back in Northern Border City. Say something. Patriarch Hu Yin glared at the king. The king said, "What? Right? Jun Linyuan looks like a nice guy to me." Before he could finish, the old man rolled his eyes at him. "Well, he's not that great. I think he's just all right. Maybe there's someone better." Before he could finish, the old master glared at him again. The old man was so fierce that he looked like he was going to eat the king alive. The problem was that he really was capable of doing that. One slap from him, and the entire northern yin would collapse. "Forget it. You won't understand." Patriarch Hu Yin pursed his lips in distaste. He rose to his feet, put his hands behind his back, and was ready to leave. However, he stopped after a few steps and glanced at the king. The king immediately followed him and smiled obsequiously. Patriarch Hu Yin snorted. "You won't find anyone as good-looking or talented as that brat in the previous or next century." The king said, "Yes, of course." Patriarch Hu Yin said, "Don't be jealous. Your daughter isn't good enough. Don't even think about it." Judging by his tone, he was pleased. The king felt he had been hit on the most painful spot. He was sure that the old master must have heard the conversation between him and Raoshi. Raoshi was doomed. As expected, Patriarch Hu Yin smirked. "Assassinate my girl? How bold." The king didn't dare to say a word. Patriarch Hu Yin said, "No one will touch that kid." With threat, both Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan were ready to go back to the Junwu Empire. When Feng Wu told Patriarch Hu Yin, the old man was displeased. Feng Wu tugged at Patriarch Hu Yin's sleeve and tried to talk him out of it, but the old man still looked displeased. Feng Wi said, "With your cultivation level, if Vaughn missed me, I can go to the Junwu Empire at any moment. It's as far away as your backyard." Patriarch Hu Yin realized that was indeed the case. "If that brat picks on you again, just send me a letter." Patriarch Hu Yin said to Feng Wu as he cast a stern look at the person who had taken his junior sister. Feng Wu said, "Yes, of course. No one would dare to pick on me. As for Jun Linyuan, oh my, sick senior brother, you make it sound like he's mine." Patriarch Hu Yin said, "I wish he wasn't." Feng Wu cleared her throat uneasily. Fine, fine. Now off you go. You're the only one that worries me." The old man waved at Feng Wu and was about to go back into the house. "Sixth senior brother." Feng Wu ran up to him and whispered something in his ear. Patriarch Hu Yin's eyes lit up. "Really?" Feng Wu said, "Yes. I was going to write you a copy, but I thought you would like Master's original copy better, so I put it there for you." Patriarch Hu Yin quickly went back to his room, forgetting all about his junior sister. Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan got into the carriage. Xianyi had transported this carriage all the way here, and it was the one Feng Wu and the others had set out in. It wasn't as bumpy as other carriages. Jun Linyuan had yet to recover from his internal injury and needed to recuperate. Hence, this shock-absorbing, luxurious carriage was what he needed the most. Feng would plan to ride a horse and leave Jun Linyuan alone in the carriage. But Jun Linyuan always had a way to make Feng Wu go into the carriage willingly. Feng Wu walked in to find Jun Linyuan staring at her curiously. She asked, "Why are you so curious?" The crown prince looked down at his book and said proudly, "I'm not." Feng Wu chuckled. Jun Linyuan had begun to show curiosity. He looked more and more like a human being than a god. Leaning against the wall of the carriage, Feng Wu put a cushion behind her back and found the most comfortable position. She then said, "Didn't I repair the sword for you earlier? That's why I took my sixth senior brother's divine iron. But I couldn't take it for free. I need to give him something in return. I remembered a piece of Master's manual, so I gave it to my sixth senior brother. He missed Master so much that he was almost in tears. This manual was written by Master himself and used to enlighten me. I thought I could give it to my sixth senior brother." Jun Linyuan nodded and said proudly, "You don't have to explain. Feng Wu clicked her tongue inwardly. Don't you have to explain? Won't you keep throwing tantrums? Feng Wu found out how petty Jun Linyuan was. He would give her attitude if he didn't get what he wanted, but he would pretend that he didn't want to hear it when he was pleased. He was so arrogant. Feng Wu nodded. I won't explain to you in the future then. Jun Linyuan didn't say anything. Angry, he looked down at his book. Seeing the frown on his face, Feng Wu couldn't help but laugh. Jun Linyuan, are you a little child? Jun Linyuan only glared at Feng Wu without saying a word. Feng Wu laughed even louder. Jun Linyuan, have I ever told you that you're adorable? Adorable? The crown prince, who had always wanted to be a father figure, glanced at Feng Wu, and his earlobes turned pink. However, he made some mental notes. First of all, Mu Jiuzhou wasn't dead. Secondly, Mu Jiuzhou was still active 10 years ago. Thirdly, Mu Jiuzhou was very important to Feng Wu. At the thought of the third point, he looked a little displeased again. The carriage moved faster than they had expected. It took them half a month to reach the border of the Junwu Empire. Northern Border City. Northern Border City was in the north-northwest of the Junwu Empire. From there, the Dongseng Kingdom was 400 kilometers away. Feng Sun's teasing voice rang out as soon as they set foot in Northern Border City. Little Feng Wu, how about we take a trip to the Dark Forest? Dark Forest contained a lot of their memories. Back then, Feng Wu had tricked Feng Sun and Jun Linyuan and stolen the immortal spiritual fruit by playing the ugly girl in the Dark Forest. Feng Sun still couldn't get over it. That was the first time Feng Wu had met them, and it was quite an impression. Feng Wu chuckled. A single eagle was enough to give us a hard time. Jun Linyuan even had a duel with it. By the way, what level was that eagle? Feng Sun said, a spiritual overlord. Feng Wu was surprised. Jun Linyuan was a spiritual overlord 2 years ago, and he's a peak spiritual saint now? That's incredible. Feng Sun glanced at Feng Wu. Why are you surprised? You were only a junior spiritual overlord when we set out from the Imperial capital, but you're already a peak spiritual overlord now. Aren't you incredible? Xian, he held his sword between his crossed arms and sighed inwardly. He had been cultivating in seclusion recently and had made some amazing progress. He had thought, comparing himself with these people was so cruel. Shall we stay here tonight? Feng Sun suggested. We've been traveling for 3 days in a row. If I don't sleep in a solid bed now, I won't be able to hold on much longer. It had been over a year since Feng Wu left Northern Border City, and she was ready to walk around. Her eyes lit up when she heard that suggestion. However, Jun Linyuan was the one calling the shots here, and he had the final say. Feng Wu turned to look at Jun Linyuan, but he was reclining on a soft chair and seemed to be absorbed in his book. Jun Linyuan? Feng Wu looked eagerly at him. Jun Linyuan didn't even look at her. Brother Jun, Feng Wu gave him a pleading look. Ahem. Feng Sun almost burst into laughter when he heard the conversation from outside. Little Feng Wu was behaving like a kitten that had its paws tucked away. Feng Wu wanted to smack Feng Sun for ruining the mood. Jun Linyuan darted a haughty look at Feng Wu. Do you really want to stay the night? Feng Wu said, yes. Feng Wu had thought that Jun Linyuan would say yes, but he only glanced at her and shook his head. Shaking his head? That wouldn't do. Pursing her lips, Feng Wu looked as pitiful as a puppy and wouldn't look at anyone. All of a sudden, a hand tugged at her braid. Ss. Feng Wu winced at the pain and looked up. However, Jun Linyuan spoke first. Off the carriage. That was all he said. The girl's eyes lit up. You said so yourself. As a matter of fact, Feng Wu knew that Jun Linyuan had been giving the order to hurry back to the Junwu Empire. He had to have a reason. Seeing Jun Linyuan nod in resignation, Feng Wu rushed out and shouted, Feng Sun, go to my old manor and stay there tonight. Uncle Lan was the only one guarding the old manor of the Feng clan in Northern Border City. The others had all gone back to the Imperial capital with Feng Wu. Uncle Lan was so surprised to see Feng Wu. Uncle Lan, don't you recognize me? Feng Wu jumped out of the carriage with a smile and nodded at Uncle Lan. Miss Wu is back. Uncle Lan's voice trembled with excitement. I recognize you. It's Miss Wu. Feng Wu was about to run back to her old house when she heard someone coughing in the carriage. Gosh, she had almost forgotten about Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu ran back in a hurry, pressed the button, and a clean petal extended out of the carriage. Uncle Lan then saw Miss Wu get into the carriage. Soon, she let a man out. She carefully helped the teenager out of the carriage and quietly led him into the courtyard. Wasn't it improper for men and women to touch each other? Moreover, why did Miss Wu look like a maid? Uncle Lan was perplexed. Wait, isn't it? Uncle Lan cried out in surprise. That was right. His Royal Highness and young Lord Feng visited the Feng Manor over a year ago, and Uncle Lan was the one guarding the door. That was why he remembered it clearly. Uncle Lan was a little confused. He remembered that Miss Wu didn't know the Crown Prince well back then, but now she seemed to be very close to him. Was the Feng clan getting lucky? Uncle Lan was thrilled. Feng Wu helped Jun Linyuan to his feet and asked, Are you going to be all right? Will it affect your injury? Do you need Feng Sun to carry you? Feng Wu was genuinely worried, for Jun Linyuan's internal injury was too severe. Anyone else would have been dead by now. That's right, Boss Jun. How about I carry you on my back? Feng Sun said hastily. However, Boss Jun only gave him a stern look. His handsome face darkened, and his eyes glinted. Feng Sun cringed. What did he do? He was only concerned about Boss Jun. Xian, he rolled his eyes at him. Even Xian, he was like that. Just then they heard a voice. Hey, how dare a mere giant flaming cloud eagle show up in front of me? Get down. Giant flaming cloud eagle? What a familiar name. Feng Wu and the others looked up to find a giant eagle soaring in the sky. Giant flaming cloud eagle spread out its wings, casting a shadow over the ground. The person chasing the eagle turned out to be a familiar face as well. You Minji? It's him? Feng Sun was amazed. What a coincidence! Feng Wu watched in amazement as giant flaming cloud eagle flew across the sky with Yuminji hot on its heels. Feng Sun reminded her. Xiao Wu, that eagle, that giant flaming cloud eagle, don't you remember? It flew up with you in its beak. Feng Sun tugged at Feng Wu in excitement. Feng Wu's face darkened. Why did he bring up such an embarrassing thing? Feng Sun didn't know how to read faces. Seeing that Feng Wu wouldn't talk to him, he raised a hand in Yuminji's direction. Hey, Yuminji, can you do it? You can't even take down a lousy eagle? Yuminji and giant flaming cloud eagle were flying around in the sky above northern border city, making everyone tremble in fear. Many people heard what Feng Sun said. So did Yuminji and giant flaming cloud eagle. They both looked in Feng Sun's direction. No one knew what Yuminji saw, but giant flaming cloud eagle spotted Feng Wu right away. Oh God, it was her. Giant flaming cloud eagle recalled what happened over a year ago when it held the girl in its beak, but the girl got away. Later, it hid in a corner and realized that the girl was very familiar with the teenager chasing after it. Moreover, the teenager was fawning on the girl. Hostage. The eagle had to take Feng Wu hostage. Giant flaming cloud eagle grinned in satisfaction. The next second, it was already charging at Feng Wu. Wait, giant flaming cloud eagle saw a person standing next to Feng Wu. It was... Holy crap. It was none other than the powerful teenager with the black sword. The eagle was so frightened that it almost turned around and ran, but soon realized that the teenager with the black sword wasn't on the same team as the unlucky girl. Back then, when it had threatened the unlucky girl, he didn't care at all and had even told it to kill her. So, he wouldn't do anything about it, would he? Seeing that the eagle was about to reach Feng Wu, Yuminji shouted anxiously, Xiao Wu dodge. However, to Yuminji's surprise, Feng Wu's eyes twinkled as she stared at the eagle. It was never too late to take revenge. Out of everyone, the eagle just had to pick her. Giant flaming cloud eagle, what am I supposed to do to you? Chapter 39:43. Chapter 3943, Love Rival 1. Chapter 3943, Love Rival 1. Giant flaming cloud eagles swooped down at Feng Wu, thinking that the girl was an easy target. However, before it could reach Feng Wu, the eagle felt its vision blur, and it met Jun Linyuan's brooding eyes. Before the eagle could react, Feng Wu had leapt into the air. Thump! Feng Wu jumped down and stepped on the eagle's back. Dust rose from the ground, and when it dissipated, everyone saw Feng Wu standing on one foot and stepping on the eagle's head with the other. Giant flaming cloud eagle stuck its face to the ground and looked at the girl in bewilderment. Giant flaming cloud eagle couldn't believe that something like this could happen. Why not? Feng Wu smiled at it. Aren't you a good-for-nothing? A good-for-nothing with no spiritual essence at all? Giant flaming cloud eagle said in frustration. But with your current capability, one stance. It couldn't believe that Feng Wu could subdue it with a single leap. Feng Wu smiled. It was true that I was useless a year ago, and it's true that I'm stepping on you now. She drew back her foot after that. Giant flaming cloud eagle took the opportunity to rise to its feet, but it didn't dare to leave, for the girl that could crush it with one stomp was smiling at it with a dangerous look on her face. What on earth did you eat? Why are you so capable all of a sudden? Giant flaming cloud eagle wouldn't believe that a person could become so capable out of nowhere. She grinned at it, but before she could say anything, the teenager behind the eagle charged at her like a cannonball. Xiao Wu! Xiao Wu! The teenager beamed at her, revealing his white teeth. It was such a pleasant sight. Feng Wu noticed Yu Minji as well. She had to admit that Yu Minji was so energetic. He looked as warm as the sun. Feng Wu realized that Yu Minji had helped her several times, but she seemed to have tricked him every single time. However, Yu Minji was so excited to see her every single time, and if she hadn't run into him this time, Feng Wu would have forgotten who he was. At that thought, Feng Wu felt a little guilty, so she was very nice to Yu Minji. So, you're here as well. Feng Wu smiled at him. That's right. Jun Linyuan was optimistic, lively, and innocent. He let all his emotions show on his face. He was excited to see Feng Wu, and his cheeks flushed a little. He then beamed at Feng Wu. How can there be such a coincidence? I dreamed of you yesterday, which was why I came to Northern Border City. I didn't expect to run into you here. Do you think we're telepathic? Ha ha! A certain someone stood a short distance away, and his face had darkened. But Feng Wu didn't realize that. She saw a feather on Yu Minji's hair, and she wanted to remove it for him. To her, Yu Minji was like a younger brother. What she didn't know was that. Thump! Giant flaming cloud eagle, who had been curiously watching them, felt a great force coming at it, and it flew backward instantly. Giant flaming cloud eagle smashed into the ground with a thump, and its face was scrunched up in pain. What was going on? It was just curious. Who hit it? Chapter 3944. Chapter 3944. Love Rival 2. Chapter 3944. Love Rival 2. The giant flaming cloud eagle's voice startled Feng Wu. Feng Wu gave giant flaming cloud eagle a strange look. Just then, Feng Sun cried out, Boss Jun, are you all right? Feng Sun rushed over and steadied Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan. Yu Minji then turned to look at Jun Linyuan. He had been staring at Feng Wu and hadn't noticed that Jun Linyuan was here as well. Yu Minji had been on guard since he set his eyes on Jun Linyuan. His face was taut, and he stared at Jun Linyuan nervously with his sword in his right hand. He looked like he was going to draw out his sword at the slightest disagreement. Meanwhile, Feng Wu ran toward Jun Linyuan as soon as Feng Sun shouted. She saw that Jun Linyuan had thrown off Feng Sun's hand and stumbled. Feng Wu immediately took Jun Linyuan's other hand and asked nervously, What's wrong? Are you in pain again? Where's the wound this time? On your stomach, shoulder, or heart? Haven't I told you already? Don't move around. Why don't you care about yourself? Feng Wu ran her fingers through all the wounds she had just mentioned. She let out a breath of relief and said, "Luckily, it's not too serious. I was so scared." While Feng Wu was examining Jun Lin Yuan, the crown prince gave Yu Minji a provoking look, which infuriated the latter. Injured? How could someone like Jun Lin Yuan be injured and look like he couldn't stand still? Even if he was severely injured, he had to pretend that nothing had happened. Hence, Yu Minji had every reason to believe that Jun Lin Yuan had done it on purpose. Then, Yu Minji saw the half-smile on Jun Lin Yuan's face. As Jun Lin Yuan looked so pleased, Yu Minji was furious. He rushed over, grabbed Feng Wu, and said anxiously, "Xiao Wu, don't let him fool you. He did it on purpose." Feng Wu threw a dirty look at Yu Minji. "That's bullshit. He really is injured." Yu Minji stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. Hadn't Xiao Wu always been on his side and boycotted Jun Lin Yuan with him? How could she? Seeing the aggrieved look on Yu Minji's face, Feng Wu softened her tone. He really was injured and almost couldn't make it. Please don't upset him. Then, Yu Minji saw Jun Lin Yuan leaning on Feng Wu with a badly injured look on his face. What poser! Yu Minji pointed at Jun Lin Yuan and was rendered speechless. How shameless! Yu Minji thought. Jun Lin Yuan is so shameless. How could he mock me while pretending to be weak in front of little Feng Wu? Feng Wu didn't see through Jun Lin Yuan's act. Not only was she supporting Jun Lin Yuan, but she was also asking after his well-being. Can you still walk? Lean on me. Don't worry. I can hold you up. Let's go inside first. I need to examine you from head to toe. Yes, Jun Lin Yuan said reluctantly. After that, Yu Minji watched as the two of them walked into the house together. They looked so intimate that they couldn't be separated from each other. Yu Minji looked like he had been struck by lightning. He stood there in a trance-like state and forgot how to react. Chapter 39:45. Chapter 39:45. Love Rival 3. Chapter 39:45. Love Rival 3. Jun Lin Yuan, on the other hand, looked over his shoulder and gave Yu Minji a half-smile. Was it mockery? Provocation? Content? Show off? Yu Minji felt that it was all of above. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Feng Sun patted Yu Minji on the shoulder. Infuriated, Yu Minji threw off Feng Sun's hand. Hey, Yu Minji, what are you angry about? What's there to be angry about? They're a couple. That's all. Why did it sound like Feng Sun was so pleased? Yu Minji threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. Feng Sun shrugged innocently. Infuriated, Yu Minji pointed at the house in front of them. Jun Lin Yuan, I'm not going to lose. Just wait and see. After that, Yu Minji stormed off. Feng Wu opened the window when she heard the noise, but all she could see was Yu Minji running away. Turning around, she saw Jun Lin Yuan resting his head on his hands and smiling like a pleased cat. Feng Wu frowned a little and stared at Jun Lin Yuan. Xiao Yi ran away because you pissed him off. Jun Lin Yuan glanced at Feng Wu. Why call him Yu Minji? Feng Wu said, Xiao Yi. Jun Lin Yuan said no. Feng Wu snorted. Jun Lin Yuan, don't pick on him. He's just a kid, not like you. The crown prince was obviously displeased. How so? Feng Wu sat down in front of Jun Lin Yuan and looked into his eyes. He's innocent, kind, and naive. The crown prince frowned, and the temperature in the room dropped. Feng Wu didn't seem to notice it at all. She went on. Look, every time he tried to challenge you to a duel, you would pick on him all the time, and he only got braver after every setback. I feel sorry for him. Jun Lin Yuan looked a little happier. Feng Wu went on. You've been picking on him all the time until he was almost in tears. He then ran off in a fit of rage. I can't bring myself to see it. The crown prince's face darkened again. Feng Wu went on. I look at him as if he's Xiaoqi, my younger brother. I just hope that he'll live a better life. A younger brother? Jun Lin Yuan relaxed a little. I don't know where he went this time. It's not easy to meet him, Feng Wu said in a sorry tone. I need to talk to him. He's very grumpy, and he's gone as fast as he came. So, I think he'll come back tonight. Please don't pick on him again. Jun Lin Yuan snorted, but no one knew if he had agreed. Feng Wu looked at him. June Linyuan looked back at her. Feng Wu rose to her feet, poured a cup of tea, and handed it to June Linyuan. From outside, one could see her silhouette on the window paper. However, June Linyuan didn't take the cup. Instead, he turned his pleading gaze on Feng Wu again. The look in his eyes. Feng Wu understood. He was asking her to feed him. However, don't you have hands? Feng Wu glared at him. Everything was fine before. Why did she have to feed him all of a sudden? What Feng Wu didn't know was that a little head was leaning against her wall. Lying on his stomach on the wall in the dark, Yu Minji watched everything that was going on. He saw Feng Wu pouring June Linyuan some tea and feeding it to him. Chapter 3946. Chapter 3946. Love Rival 4. Chapter 3946. Love Rival 4. Yu Minji was so angry that he almost fell off the wall. Little Feng Wu, you little fool. Are you blind? Can't you tell that June Linyuan is faking it? He's faking it. Why are you still serving him? Then he saw Feng Wu. What is she doing? She was touching June Linyuan's foot, and she was moving her way up his leg. You're a girl. Don't you know that it's improper for men and women to touch each other? Yu Minji was furious, but he wouldn't leave. Instead, he kept his unblinking gaze on the window. Closer, closer. They were so close, and they were hugging each other. Inside, Feng Wu said grumpily to June Linyuan, I started massaging from your feet and worked my way up to the top of your head. Do you feel better now that you've completed a whole cycle? Even Feng Wu herself had forgotten about her massage skills, but June Linyuan still remembered. He told her about the massage she gave him in the Crown Prince's residence and insisted on doing it now. Feng Wu couldn't believe it. Hey, June Linyuan, don't push it. Although I promised to look after you, I didn't promise to do what a maid would do. That's enough. The Crown Prince gave Feng Wu an aggrieved look, turned around, and faced the wall. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Fine. She had to appease him now. Feng Wu had no choice but to go up to June Linyuan and sit down on the bed. She then turned to June Linyuan and said in a gentle voice, I'm not saying that I won't take care of you. What I'm saying is that you shouldn't order me around all the time when I'm busy. What are you busy with? June Linyuan asked quietly. Feng Wu said grumpily, It wasn't easy for me to run into Yu Minji, and I was only going to make some semi-divine pills for him. After all the help he gave me, I couldn't. Hey, June Linyuan, why are you angry again? I'm the one who's going to give you Minji some semi-divine pills. Why do you mind it? All right. I'll give you a massage. I'll do it from the bottom of your feet all the way to the top of your head. Don't be mad. You're so stingy. All Yu Minji could see was the image, but he couldn't hear anything, for June Linyuan had blocked all sound. Right at that moment, hello, someone patted Yu Minji on the shoulder. Turning around in frustration, Yu Minji saw that it was Feng Sun, so he looked away again. Since Feng Sun was June Linyuan's friend, Yu Minji decided that Feng Sun was his enemy. Yu Minji threw a dirty look at Feng Sun and looked away. Hey, Yu Minji, why are you so angry? I don't understand. You're so grumpy. Feng Sun had always been a very friendly person. Hey, don't tell me that you're jealous because you're in love with little Feng Wu. Wow, are you jealous of Boss June? Feng Sun looked amazed. Yu Minji could admit anything, but he would never admit that he had lost to June Linyuan. Hence, he denied it outright. What are you talking about? I'm not. Yu Minji pointed at the silhouette on the window paper and said angrily, Look, it's so. It's the middle of the night. It's against public morals. Feng Sun grinned at Yu Minji. Are you really not jealous of Boss June? Crossing his arms, Yu Minji snorted. He's the last person I'll be jealous of. Chapter 3947. Chapter 3947. Confession of Love 1. Chapter 3947. Confession of Love 1. Crossing his arms, Yu Minji snorted. He's the last person I'll be jealous of. Feng Sun darted a look at Yu Minji. Really? Yu Minji glared at him. You don't believe me? I've always been telling the truth. Rubbing his chin, Feng Sun pondered for a moment, then asked, that is to say, you don't like little Feng Wu, right? You won't be jealous if you don't like her, right? Holding his sword between his crossed arms, Xin Yi darted a look at Feng Sun before looking away. He wondered if it was a good idea to pick on Yuminji like this. Yuminji was the most easy to provoke, especially when Jun Linyuan was involved. Like her? Heh, there's no way I'm going to like her. With her unreasonable temperament, TSK. Crossing his arms, Yuminji looked as proud as a peacock. However, Feng Wu heard him. Feng Wu couldn't hear him before, but she heard him now. Somehow, Jun Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu and looked pleased. Hearing Yuminji's voice, Feng Wu rushed over to open the window. She needed to talk to Yuminji. However, she only managed to say, Yuminji. Right after that, she heard the sound of something falling on the ground. Ouch! Yuminji fell to the ground with a thump. Holding his head, he cried out. Feng Wu jumped out of the window and landed on the wall. Yuminji, as soon as Feng Wu started, Yuminji looked up and met Feng Wu's gaze. The next second, his face went scarlet red, and he dashed off like a rabbit. With a whoosh, he was out of sight. Feng Wu was furious. Why are you running away? I need to talk to you. She wanted to tell Yuminji to stay put and give him time to refine the pill before giving it to him as a gift. Feng Wu didn't have anything else to give him, but she had pills. But Yuminji was out of sight before Feng Wu could finish. Why is he running? Feng Wu said grumpily. I'm not going to eat him. It's just... Feng Sun chuckled and told Feng Wu. Xiao Wu, don't worry. I'll go talk to him. Feng Wu said, tell him to stay in northern border city for at least 2 more days. I'll give him some pills tomorrow. Feng Sun felt a chill run down his spine. His eyes met Boss Jun's. Feng Sun said, well, I guess it'll depend on if I can catch up with him. You know, Yuminji can run very fast. After that, Feng Sun dragged Xian Yi away. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She went back to her room and sighed at Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan glanced at her. Why are you sighing? Feng Wu fretted. Why do I get the feeling that Yuminji is behaving strangely? Is he out of his mind? Jun Linyuan chuckled inwardly. He had thought that Xiao Wu was unromantic only toward him, but as it turned out, she really didn't know anything about it. Yuminji had made it so obvious, but she still couldn't tell. Jun Linyuan, are you smiling? Feng Wu stared at the handsome teenager. Why are you smiling? Would His Royal Highness be the type to help a rival in love? He cleared his throat and said, I think you're right. Feng Wu asked, what do you mean? Jun Linyuan said in a serious tone, didn't you say that he was innocent, kind, and naive? Feng Wu nodded. That's right. Jun Linyuan said, so, don't you already know? Feng Wu didn't know what to say. After thinking for a while, Feng Wu finally understood what Jun Linyuan meant. How dare you call him stupid? Feng Wu smacked Jun Linyuan on the shoulder. Ouch! Jun Linyuan put a hand on his belly and looked like he was in pain. Feng Wu immediately put down her hand. Are you all right? Jun Linyuan snorted. It's been a while since he's been an idiot, and now he also has poor eyesight. You haven't spoken to him yet. Feng Wu asked, what's wrong with his eyes? Jun Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu and blushed a little. He then turned away and looked out of the window. Didn't he say that he didn't like you? What do you think of his eyes? Holy crap. It's true. Feng Wu was convinced by Jun Linyuan right away. I was going to make a batch of pills for this Yuminji all by myself, but he called me short-tempered. I won't disappoint him. Forget it. I'll just ignore him. Jun Linyuan rubbed her head and almost couldn't control the smile on his face, but he still put on a straight face. He doesn't like you. Actually, Jun Linyuan blushed a little. He had never been so. It just so happened that he had met a very straightforward teenage girl. The girl was still indulging in the bad things Yuminji said about her. Scratching her head, she said, forget it. I'm going to bed. Jun Linyuan didn't know what to say. Feng Wu covered Jun Linyuan with a duvet as she spoke. Look at you. You're in so much pain every time you move, which means that your internal injury is still very severe. It'll take you a very long time to recover. So, be a good boy and go to bed now. Don't say another word. Jun Linyuan looked at Feng Wu in silence. Feng Wu was confused. Why are you looking at me? Is there something on my face? Jun Linyuan said angrily, I'm going to bed. He pulled the duvet over, turned around, and glared at the wall. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan in bewilderment. Scratching her head, she mumbled, Are you angry again? I can't believe it. Feng Wu was utterly confused. She felt so innocent. Hearing Feng Wu's nagging, Jun Linyuan was even angrier. He clenched his fists and thought, Little Feng Wu, you're such a goofball. Goofball. Feng Wu didn't return to her room. She only made a bed on the floor. Jun Linyuan stole a glance at Feng Wu and saw her jump into the duvet. She immediately curled UD into a ball. Jun Linyuan didn't know what to say. It was inappropriate, but why was she so adorable? Deep down, Jun Linyuan decided to forgive Feng Wu. Moreover, he was going to stay on the subject. That was because it was such a rare opportunity. Yu Minji's appearance had provoked him, and he had made up his mind to claim his sovereignty openly. Moreover, little Feng Wu probably liked him as well, right? Hence, Jun Linyuan tossed and turned in bed and racked his brain. Chapter 3948. Chapter 3948. Confession of Love 2. Chapter 3948. Confession of Love 2. Jun Linyuan racked his brain. Finally, he summoned up his courage and went on. He had to say it sooner or later. Little Feng Wu, actually, summoning up the courage of his life, Jun Linyuan clenched his fists, stared at the ceiling, and was about to speak when, phew, a long, even breathing sound came from 2 meters away, and it was accompanied by a little snore. The crown prince, who was capable enough to talk to a top cultivator of the continent, the one who could shake the continent with a stomp of his foot. He looked like he had been struck by lightning. He turned to the side and stared at the girl who had rolled up in her duvet. Moonlight poured in through the window, lighting up the room. Only her smooth forehead could be seen. From Jun Linyuan's angle, he could see most of the girl's face. Right now, she was fast asleep, her cheeks flushed, and she was snoring happily. Jun Linyuan was so frustrated. Jun Linyuan's usually taut face cracked a little. He took a deep breath, then another. Only then was he able to suppress his emotions. Rising to his feet, he went up to Feng Wu and crouched down in front of her. Even with the heavy shadow over her face, the girl could still sleep soundly. Jun Linyuan was so. What could he do? All her frustration turned into a long sigh. Her eyes were closed, and her eyelashes were like butterfly wings. Her eyes would be so clear and bright when she opened them. She looked like an innocent baby when she was asleep. Her skin was so smooth that he wanted to take a bite. In the end, his frustration turned into indulgence. He picked up his girl and slowly put her down on the bed. The teenager lay on his stomach by the bed and looked curiously at the girl with his limpid, brooding eyes. He would poke her little head one moment and move her hands the next. His eyes were filled with affection, and he couldn't put his hands off her. He was still touching her hand when she smacked him. She wrapped the duvet around her again and turned away. She mumbled, Jun Linyuan is so stingy. He's mad at me. In the end, she gave him all kinds of nicknames. She smacked her lips as she spoke. Jun Linyuan's mouth fell open. In the end, he rubbed her head with a wry smile. She was so lovely. Just then, he heard a faint noise outside. It was a secret signal Feng Sun had made with Boss Jun when they were little. Fearing that he might wake the girl up, Jun Linyuan quickly left the room and jumped over the wall. As expected, Feng Sun was crouching outside the wall with his head stuck out. Boss Jun, you're finally out. I made that brat Yu Minji drunk. He really likes Xiao Wu. After he got drunk, he wouldn't stop talking about Xiao Wu, saying that he wanted to marry her. And he said that he would marry her and make her the queen of the Dark Court. TSK, that's really something he would do. Feng Sun saw the smile on Boss Jun's face when he came out, but the latter's eyes had turned cold. Where is he? Those 3 cold words. Feng Sun immediately said, Yun Lian, but he's guarded by 3 elders. They're all spiritual saints. Yu Minji's father was genuinely kind to him. With 3 spiritual saint elders around him, he could do whatever on this continent, but he just happened to have a natural enemy. Seeing that Boss Jun was heading for Yunlai, Feng Sun followed him in a hurry. He said in a hurry, Boss Jun, a gentleman doesn't resort to violence. Calm down. It was mainly because Boss Jun was already injured. If he hadn't been injured, those ordinary spiritual saints wouldn't have been about to touch him in northern Yan. Boss Jun gave him a cold look. Before Feng Sun could say another word, Jun Linyuan had disappeared. Well, Feng Sun scratched his head. He's so aggressive. Are they going to start a fight? Why do I feel so uneasy? He looked up at Xian Yi as he spoke. Holding his sword between his crossed arms, Xian Yi had the poker face of a real swordsman. Xian Yi, I didn't do anything wrong, did I? Feng Sun asked diffidently. Xian Yi patted Feng Sun on the head, sighed, shook his head, and walked away. What? Hey, say something. I didn't do anything wrong, did I? I just told Boss Jun what really happened to Yu Minji. He wanted to marry Xiao Wu and make her a queen. That'll be so scary. What if Xiao Wu agrees because it's worth it? Don't you think so? Xian Yi rolled his eyes at Feng Sun. Why are you looking at me like that? Do you think I'm an idiot? Feng Sun asked gingerly. Xian Yi took a deep breath. Who do you think is more capable in this world? The most capable man or the ruler of a kingdom? Feng Sun said, if that's the case, of course it has to be the most capable cultivator. The capable cultivator can destroy a kingdom, but not the other way around. Xian Yi said, there you go. Feng Sun said, that's right. Why couldn't I think straight? As a matter of fact, Feng Sun was a little anxious when Yu Minji told him about his plan to marry Feng Wu. On one hand, Boss Jun was scolding Feng Wu with a straight face, and, on the other hand, Yu Minji was busy preparing for his marriage and running around Feng Wu like a puppy dog. Needless to say, he panicked. Therefore, when Yu Minji staggered toward Feng Wu after getting drunk, Feng Sun smacked him on the head, knocking him out on the table. Luckily, the 3 elders were all cultivating in their rooms and didn't see what was going on. By then, Jun Linyuan had arrived at Yunlai. He was the most capable cultivator in the empire, and he couldn't do anything when his girl was around. However, he wouldn't be polite when she wasn't around. Yu Minji was still swaying when he woke up to find Jun. Jun Linyuan? Yu Minji smelled of alcohol. As soon as he saw Jun Linyuan, he forgot all about it and looked like a cat with its hair standing on end. He was on alert. Chapter 39:49. Chapter 39:49. Conversation between love rivals 1. Chapter 39:49. Conversation between love rivals 1. The crown prince sat down in front of him and kept his gaze on him. Yu Minji had been reeking alcohol, but he woke up as soon as he saw Jun Linyuan. Yu Minji stumbled back involuntarily and bumped into the table behind him. Cups, plates, and bowls fell to the floor. Yu Minji slipped and fell to his knees. And he was kneeling in Jun Linyuan's direction. The 3 spiritual saints didn't come out when they heard the noise, but they all looked in that direction. Spiritual saints had their dignity, and they wouldn't rush into a fight for no reason. Jun Linyuan didn't see that coming either and wanted to smack his forehead. Him, his rival in love. Fearing that Jun Linyuan would say something humiliating, Yu Minji jumped to his feet and glared at Jun Linyuan. What do you want? The crown prince was only a 3-year-old in front of Feng Wu, but to everyone else, he was the fiend. Hence, Yu Minji's stomach lurched when he saw the look in Feng Sun's eyes. Yu Minji. Jun Linyuan fetched an unused teacup and slowly poured himself some tea. He then rested his left hand on the table and spoke in an unhurried tone. Yes, that's me. So what? Yu Minji was flustered, but he was also secretly elated. Finally, Jun Linyuan knew his name. Over a year ago, Jun Linyuan hadn't even heard of his name. That was progress. Minji gloated inwardly. Huh. Jun Linyuan frowned a little. You and Xiao Wu. Minji cut him off before he could finish. Minji then recalled that he had 3 spiritual saint elders behind him. 3. He wasn't afraid at all. He sat down in a chair and stared at Jun Linyuan. Your Xiao Wu? Why is she yours? Have you asked for her opinion? Did she agree? Jun Linyuan gave him a taunting smile. Minji was furious, for the look Jun Linyuan gave him made him feel like a retard. However, he suddenly remembered something. The silhouette he saw on the window paper. Minji finally knew why Jun Linyuan was so confident. Minji almost jumped to his feet. Jun Linyuan, you're doing this to little Feng Wu. Are you even human? Jun Linyuan knew what Minji was thinking, but he wouldn't clarify it. He only darted an unhurried glance at Minji and smiled a little. Holy crap. Jun Linyuan, you're shameless. Minji smacked the table in frustration. Not only didn't the crown prince retort, but there was satisfaction in his eyes as well. Minji was furious. Shameless. 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 Ah. Minji walked around the table in circles like a grumpy kid. Jun Linyuan leaned back in his chair and sipped his tea. In the end, Minji ran up to Jun Linyuan and glared at him through gritted teeth. Jun Linyuan, tell me. Have you? Jun Linyuan raised his brows a little. Huh? Oh, you mean that? Are you really? Jun Linyuan said, we were engaged when we were little. What's wrong with that? Minji's head was spinning. Taking a deep breath, he thought his lungs were going to explode. He wanted to hit Jun Linyuan, but he wasn't his match. Jun Linyuan hit the nail on the head. You can't even defeat that girl. How can you be in love with her? Minji was going to retort, but all he could think of was how Feng Wu had taken care of Giant Flaming Cloud Eagle. It was so easy. Minji had been chasing Giant Flaming Cloud Eagle, but couldn't catch up with it. Feng Wu, on the other hand, had defeated it with a single strike. It was obvious who was more powerful. Minji blushed. I have 3 spiritual saints with me. She'll be very safe. Jun Linyuan looked into his eyes and gave him a half-smile. What about your own capability? Talk about a sore spot. Minji was furious. I'm going to be very strong. Jun Linyuan, just wait and see. Minji couldn't stay here anymore. He felt so humiliated. He couldn't understand this world anymore. He really was a very talented cultivator. He had worked very hard and had a lot of cultivation resources. He had done everything he could. Feng Wu was only slightly better than him when they were in the Imperial capital. She was only slightly stronger, but now. What level? Minji asked angrily as he marched through the streets. 3 spiritual saint elders stood a few steps behind him. The head of the elders said, Advanced spiritual saint. I'm at Feng Wu. What level is little Feng Wu now? Minji stopped, turned around, and stared at his elder. The head of the elders looked troubled. Minji's face darkened. Exactly what level is she? He was frustrated. A spiritual overlord. The head of the elders looked at Minji, who let out a breath of relief. However, the head of the elders added, a peak one. What? Minji was so shocked that he thought he was hearing things. The head of the elders glanced at Minji and sighed inwardly. Minji saw light right away. A peak spiritual overlord? Feng Wu is a peak spiritual overlord now. Are you kidding me? Minji almost jumped to his feet and stared at the head of the elders. The head of the elders gave him a sympathetic look. Minji's stomach lurched. He turned around and looked at the 2 elders in silence. Elder 2 and Elder 3 nodded. For a moment, the atmosphere felt strangely quiet. A peak spiritual overlord? She's a peak spiritual overlord already? Back in Emperor Wu's capital, she was only a junior spiritual overlord. She really was. Fearing that the 3 elders wouldn't believe him, Minji stressed repeatedly. All 3 elders nodded. As a matter of fact, the 3 elders had made some progress in the past 3 months as well, but Minji didn't seem to have much luck and didn't make much progress. I'm for levels. Yu Minji swallowed with much difficulty. She has left me so far behind, hasn't she? The three elders nodded. Yu Minji closed his eyes for an indeterminate amount of time. When he opened them again, there was a resolute look in his eyes. Chapter 3950. Chapter 3950. Conversation between love rivals 2. Chapter 3950. Conversation between love rivals 2. Did you say that my opportunity was in the Dongsang Kingdom? Yu Minji had never sounded so calm. Seeing how serious Yu Minji was, the head of the elders grew serious as well. Your great opportunity is indeed in the Dongsang Kingdom, but it's too dangerous there. You may not survive. Yu Minji took a deep breath. I'll do anything, even if it'll cost me my life. Let's go. Yu Minji left without hesitation. His pride wouldn't allow it. Fengwu opened her eyes involuntarily when Jun Linyuan returned. Jun Linyuan? Fengwu sat up in bed, looked at Jun Linyuan in surprise, then looked down at herself. Why am I in bed? Recalling that the girl had wasted the courage he had summoned, Jun Linyuan threw a dirty look at Fengwu and ignored her. He then sat down in the corner and began to cultivate. Was he angry again? Fengwu stared at Jun Linyuan in astonishment. Are you mad? The girl crouched down in front of Jun Linyuan and eyed him suspiciously. Jun Linyuan opened his eyes, glanced at Fengwu, and went back to his cultivation. Fengwu said, well, rubbing her head. She tried to recall if she had offended Jun Linyuan. However, now that Fengwu had figured out Jun Linyuan's temperament, she couldn't ask him directly why he was angry. She had to be tactful. Fengwu sat down in front of the teenager and blinked at him. Jun Linyuan raised his chin. Fengwu found it amusing. Hey, Jun Linyuan, are you angry because I took your bed? Jun Linyuan didn't reply. Fengwu looked at his shoes and was surprised. Did you go out? Jun Linyuan didn't say anything. Fengwu said grumpily, have you recovered? That's why you can run around now, isn't it? Jun Linyuan was speechless. Fengwu said, after everything I've done for you, you're still out here in the middle of the night? I'm so mad. Hence, the tables had turned again, and it was Jun Linyuan's turn to appease his girl. The next day, while she still had time, Fengwu went to see her old friend, Old Man Ba, the supreme level medicine refiner. Old Man Ba was conflicted when Fengwu arrived, for he had been refining a cauldron of pills 10 times already and had failed every single time. Oh my Xiaowu! Old Man Ba was amazed to see Fengwu. You're back. Quickly, give me some advice. This mixed essence pill. Old Man Ba couldn't see anyone else when he spotted Fengwu. He then led Fengwu away. Feng Sun was amazed. Old Man Ba, are you quite familiar with Xiaowu? Old Man Ba glanced at Feng Sun over his shoulder. What are you talking about? Of course, we're familiar with each other. But why are you here together? Are you friends? Resting a hand on Fengwu's shoulder, Feng Sun darted a pleased look at Old Man Ba. Familiar? She's my sister. Of course, I know her well. Old Man Ba looked at Feng Sun in bewilderment. Feng Sun raised his chin proudly and let Old Man Ba look away. That's not right. Old Man Ba looked from Feng Sun to Fengwu. Didn't you come to me to arrest Xiaowu back then? She ran so fast, and you chased her. Am I mistaken? Feng Sun scratched his head in embarrassment. Chapter 3951. Chapter 3951. Back to the capital. Chapter 3951. Back to the capital. Feng Sun scratched his head awkwardly at Old Man Badass words. Back then, they didn't know that Fengwu was the ugly girl, and they had been chasing her everywhere. Feng Sun remembered that he had chased her all the way to the brothel. At that thought, Feng Sun and Jun Linyuan exchanged looks. Jun Linyuan looked away. He didn't want to talk about such a humiliating thing anymore. Ahem. Feng Sun immediately changed the subject and diverted Old Man Ba's attention. Not only did Fengwu go to see Old Man Ba, but she had also met a lot of her neighbors. No one knew if Jun Linyuan was doing it on purpose, but he had stayed by Feng Wu's side the whole time, as if he was protecting her. The looks the neighbors gave them became suggestive. They were all surprised when they learned that he was the famous crown prince. When Jun Linyuan came to northern border city over a year ago, they still considered him to be an invincible and distant god. But this time, he looked like an immortal man. Not only wasn't the crown prince angry when Aunt Wang teased them, he even smiled a little. That was so. After Feng Wu, Jun Linyuan, and the others left northern border city, the common folk of northern border city talked about this meeting for a long time. Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan had left when the mayor arrived. Are they gone? The mayor was so frustrated that he asked Uncle Lon loudly. Uncle Lon nodded as he swept the floor. He's gone. The mayor was frustrated. What was he doing in seclusion? Why didn't he see the crown prince when he arrived? Meanwhile, Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan were heading for the Imperial capital. Back then, this route had taken Feng Wu over a month, but she no longer needed that much time now. In less than 7 days, they were already in the Imperial capital. Feng Wu didn't even go back home. Instead, she sent Jun Linyuan back to his residence. Jun Linyuan needed to recover from his internal injury, and he had an epiphany. Feng Wu locked Jun Linyuan up in the basement of the manor. Stay here and recuperate. No matter what happens outside, you're not allowed to come out until your wounds are healed. Got it? Feng Wu was serious this time, and she stared at Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan frowned. Resting her hands on Jun Linyuan's shoulders, Feng Wu said earnestly, Jun Linyuan, you're going to die if you don't treat your internal injury properly. Jun Linyuan kept getting injured, and each time, his dantian would be severely injured. Feng Wu examined it and saw that it was badly damaged. Your top priority now is to repair your body. Will you do that for me? Feng Wu pleaded. 3 months. I'll be out of seclusion in 3 months. Jun Linyuan kept his unblinking gaze on Feng Wu. All right, Feng Wu smiled. Feng Wu set up a formation after she left the basement. That way, no one would disturb Jun Linyuan's cultivation. No matter what happened outside, Jun Linyuan wouldn't hear anything. These 3 months are of utmost importance, Feng Wu said earnestly. Seeing the look on Feng Wu's face, Granny Gong became serious as well. Feng Wu said, don't let other people know that he's here. This time, he can't stop repairing his dantian. Otherwise, there's a high chance that his dantian will be destroyed, and he may fall into the demonic path. Granny Gong nodded again. Feng Wu was going to leave after that. Granny Gong stopped her again. Miss Wu, please wait. What? Feng Wu stopped, turned around, and looked at Granny Gong in bewilderment. Granny Gong looked from the sealed door to Feng Wu and said after some hesitation, Miss Wu, aren't you going to stay here? If His Royal Highness knows, he'll want you to stay in the residence. What Granny Gong wanted to ask the most was, His Royal Highness isn't feeling well now. Aren't you worried? Feng Wu nodded. The next 3 months are very important, and I have to be here to protect him. But I need to take care of something now. Granny Gong let out a breath of relief. Feng Wu went back to the Feng clan. Xiuling and the others greeted her. They had been worried about Feng Wu for months. Now that Feng Wu was finally back home, they were relieved. Xiaoga burst into tears as soon as she saw Feng Wu. Xiao Wu, why did you leave? I missed you so much. We've been getting news from the Northwest, and some even said that you were dead. How can I believe that? I beat her up. Feng Wu frowned a little. I'm dead. Xiaoga nodded. That's right. We've been receiving news of your death, and His Majesty has been worried. Feng Wu asked Granny Zhao what was going on. Tears welled up in Granny Zhao's eyes as she nodded in fear. I was told that you died in the Northern Yin Kingdom, and I think, what is it? Feng Wu asked. Granny Zhao said, I think it has something to do with Princess Raoshi of Northern Yin. Feng Wu said, what? So, the rumor is that Princess Raoshi has killed me. Granny Zhao nodded. Your Uncle Chiu asked around, but His Royal Highness, Young Lord Feng and Young Lord Xian, weren't there. In the end, he went to Northern Feng Mansion to ask around, but Northern Foam Mansion didn't tell him anything either. I don't know what happened, but my lady has heard about it. Hey, where's my mum? Feng Wu grabbed Granny Zhao and asked anxiously, I've been back for a while, but I haven't seen her anywhere. Where is she? Feng Wu rushed in, followed by Granny Zhao and the others. She's in the back room. I had a quiet discussion with your Uncle Chiu, but somehow your mother heard it. She heard about your death and spat out a mouthful of blood. She hasn't been doing well. Tears welled up in Granny Zhao's eyes again. She's been getting worse. Where's the Imperial physician? Didn't you send for him? Feng Wu almost burst into tears when she saw her mother, who had lost a lot of weight. Taking her mother's hand, she checked her pulse right away. Granny Zhao said, His Majesty has sent Master Chu here, but he said that it was a terminal disease, and there was nothing he could do. How could it be? Taking a deep breath, Feng Wu fought back her frustration and checked her mother's pulse. Feng Wu frowned when she checked his pulse. She didn't believe in terminal illnesses at first. After all, being too worried couldn't be terminal. However, judging from her mother's pulse, Chapter 3952. Chapter 3952. Her Mum's Pulse. Chapter 3952. Her Mum's Pulse. Feng Wu frowned a little. Her mother's pulse was so strange. Her pulse was weak at times, strong at times, and stopping at other times. For a moment, Feng Wu couldn't figure out what was going on with her mother. She was so worried. Xiao Wu, seeing that Feng Wu didn't say anything, Chaoga stepped forward. Feng Wu shook her head at Chaoga. I don't know yet. Has anyone been to Fallen Star Yard recently? Granny Zhao and Chaoga shook their heads. The beautiful lady was still unconscious, but luckily, her life wasn't in danger for the time being. She still had time to solve this mystery. Just then, Feng Wu heard a voice calling her. The White Fairy. Feng Wu ran out of the door and soon reached the dry well of the Feng Manor next door. The White Fairy had been cultivating here. As expected, when Feng Wu arrived, she saw the White Fairy sitting in the dry well. The dry well was filled with yellow sand, but the White Fairy's dress was spotless. She slowly opened her eyes and looked at Feng Wu. Recalling her mother's condition, Feng Wu grew anxious. She asked as soon as she sat down in front of the White Fairy. Recently, the White Fairy frowned. I've been cultivating, but what? Feng Wu felt that the White Fairy wanted to say something, but hesitated. As expected, she spoke again. Someone has been here. Feng Wu immediately asked, Who is it? The White Fairy said, I don't know. Feng Wu said, How can you not know? Do you know if it's a man or a woman? How old are they? What's their cultivation level? The White Fairy looked at Feng Wu and nodded. She's about your age, and her cultivation level is... The White Fairy was going to say that the person was much more capable than Feng Wu was, but she hesitated as soon as she opened her mouth because she sensed the formidable spiritual essence coming from Feng Wu. You? The White Fairy stared at Feng Wu. Are you a peak spiritual overlord now? Feng Wu nodded without hesitation. She had nothing to hide. The White Fairy didn't know what to say. She didn't want to talk anymore. The White Fairy remembered clearly that Feng Wu was only a junior spiritual overlord when she left the Imperial capital 3 months ago. What on earth did you eat? How can a person cultivate so fast? Feng Wu smiled. I was just lucky. It was pure luck. The White Fairy still didn't want to talk to Feng Wu. However, Feng Wu prompted her. How about that girl of my age? How's her cultivation level compared to me? The White Fairy shook her head. Feng Wu asked, Is that something that you can't talk about? The White Fairy said, It's hard to say. Feng Wu immediately realized something. Is she also a peak spiritual overlord? The White Fairy nodded, and she has 2 very capable men with her. They're peak spiritual saints. Feng Wu was astonished. The White Fairy nodded. That's right. They were at the peak of the spiritual saint stage, maybe even higher. That's an area I've never dealt with before, so I can't tell exactly how capable they are, but I can say that they're unfathomable. Feng Wu drew in her breath. She searched her memory, but she still couldn't think of anyone she knew that was like that. Who is she? What did she do to my mother? Feng Wu asked. The white fairy glanced at Feng Wu. Do you want to hear the truth? Feng Wu nodded earnestly. The white fairy said, that which was very arrogant when she arrived. Her arrogance is demonstrated by the fact that she has deliberately caused fluctuations in the spiritual essence around her, which has disrupted the meridians of the people around her and made them vomit blood. But they still don't know what has happened. I promised to protect your fallen star yard for 100 years, so I took action. The white fairy looked at Feng Wu, and the look on her face became more and more serious. But I only made one strike, and an invisible force knocked me away. My soul almost shattered. The white fairy had always been in her spiritual form. If her soul was destroyed, she might disappear forever. Feng Wu was astonished. The white fairy said, it was one of the two masters I told you about. He only waved his sleeve. What do you think of his capability? Feng Wu pursed her lips, and her face darkened. The white fairy went on. After I left, that little witch went back to Fallen Star Yard. It was after dark, and all your maids and grannies were asleep. Your mother was the only one who was awake and crying because she missed you. No one knew what the little witch was doing in there. She came out 15 minutes later. She wore bells around her ankles, and they jingled when she walked, but no one in the house woke up. That bell was a divine weapon. Your mother has been in a coma since she left, and we don't know if she'll survive. That's all I know. Feng Wu stared at the white fairy. Did they just let you go? The white fairy shook her head. That little witch wanted to kill me, but the two spiritual saints stopped her in the end, which was why I'm still alive. Feng Wu frowned a little. According to the white fairy, the girl wasn't a threat, but the two spiritual saints were. Even Feng Xiangnan wouldn't be able to withstand such power. Jun Linyuan, on the other hand, had gone into seclusion because he needed to repair his body. Was that your rival in love? The white fairy glanced at Feng Wu. Feng Wu smiled bitterly. Where would I find one of those? Was that Zhua Qingluan? The white fairy said affirmatively, definitely not. She's a little younger than Zhua Qingluan, and with her bare feet and bells, it's very easy to recognize her. She's definitely not Zhua Qingluan. Feng Wu racked her brain, but she couldn't think of anything. Just then, they heard voices in Fallen Star Yard next door. Feng Wu jumped out of the well and soon returned to Fallen Star Yard. Watching Feng Wu leave, the white fairy murmured, is it true that the younger generation is surpassing the older one? Are we going to be left behind? These teenage girls are incredible. At that thought, the white fairy felt rather sad. Meanwhile, Feng Wu went back to Fallen Star Yard to find Lady Northern Feng. Xiao Wu, seeing that Feng Wu was still alive, Lady Northern Feng was pleasantly surprised. She then held Feng Wu in her arms. Chapter 39:53. Chapter 39:53. Barefoot and Bells 1. Chapter 39:53. Barefoot and Bells 1. Lady Northern Feng almost burst into tears of joy when she saw Feng Wu. Are you all right? You're not dead? Lady Northern Feng rubbed Feng Wu's head, feeling sorry for her. Tears welled up in her eyes. Feng Sun said you were back. You're really alive. That's great. Seeing that Lady Northern Feng was going to cry again, Feng Wu tried to appease her. I'm fine. Please don't cry. But where did you get that information? Lady Northern Feng said that she had learned it from someone called Lady Kai. In the end, she said Lady Kai, her family is very close to the Duga family. Feng Wu narrowed her eyes. The Duga family. By the way, the Duga family hasn't been very peaceful recently. Lady Northern Feng told Feng Wu in a serious tone. Try to get into conflicts with them later, if you can bear with it. If something really happens, we'll wait for your godfather to come back. It won't be too late. Feng Wu looked at Lady Northern Feng in bewilderment. The Dugu family? Empress Dugu's family? Lady Northern Feng nodded. Feng Wu frowned a little. I don't think the Dugu family is that powerful. Feng Wu thought, I've destroyed the Zhua family, and the Dugu family is about the same size as the Zhua family at most. However, Lady Northern Feng told Feng Wu, the Dugu family used to be the same size as the Zhua family, but it's different now. It's so different. Feng Wu looked at her in bewilderment. Different? How? Lady Northern Feng smiled bitterly. I can't tell you exactly, but I feel that the Dugu family is much more powerful now. Apart from the royal family, the Dugu family is also the most influential family in the imperial capital. Feng Wu was surprised. Isn't it Northern Feng Mansion? Lady Northern Feng shook her head with a wry smile. Feng Wu frowned. Lady Northern Feng was a valiant and heroic lady. Moreover, Northern Feng, General, doted on her, and the Empress Dowager was her godmother. She had never been bullied in her life, but now she looked a little defeated. Feng Wu immediately asked, what did the Dugu family do to the Northern Feng Mansion? Lady Northern Feng smiled bitterly. There's a capable cultivator in the Dugu family, and he's so powerful. Lady Northern Feng gave it some thought and said in the end, according to your godfather, he may not be as capable as Master Linghu, but I don't think he's weaker than His Royal Highness. He's at the peak of the spiritual saint stage. Right now, he's guarding the Dugu family. A peak spiritual saint. Feng Wu recalled what the white fairy said earlier. According to her, there was a barefoot girl with 2 peak spiritual saints. Her mother had been unconscious ever since she entered Fallen Star Yard. It was so difficult to find a peak spiritual saint on this continent. How could the imperial capital have so many of them all at once? Gritting her teeth, Feng Wu asked Lady Northern Feng, have you seen a barefoot girl around my age? Tilting her head, Lady Northern Feng gave it some thought, and her eyes lit up. I think I've seen her somewhere before. Feng Wu asked anxiously. Where? Think about it. Lady Northern Feng walked back and forth in the room. In the end, she gave Feng Wu a wry smile and said, I can't think of anything at the moment. I can't help you. Feng Wu said, don't worry. Just keep it in the back of your mind. It'll just pop up when you least expect it. You won't be able to figure out when you think too hard. Lady Northern Feng then asked, what about that barefoot girl? Chapter 3954. Chapter 3954. Barefoot and Bells 2. Chapter 3954. Barefoot and Bells 2. Feng Wu gritted her teeth. She has to have something to do with my mum's coma. The antidote Feng Wu needed had to come from that girl. The look on Lady Northern Feng's face became even more serious, indicating that she would think about it carefully. Just then, someone came from the Imperial Palace. Gao, the Emperor's eunuch, let out a breath of relief when he saw Feng Wu. Miss Xiao Wu, you're really alive. I was so scared. Master Gao was on Junlin Yuan's side and had always been very nice to Feng Wu. Feng Wu smiled bitterly. I think everyone in the imperial capital thinks that. I've died in the Northern Yin Kingdom. Does His Majesty think so as well? Master Gao smiled. His Majesty was worried as well, but he said you had 9 lives and was sure you would be all right. He then said, Feng Wu asked, what else did His Majesty say? Master Gao smiled. His Majesty also said that a scourge like you can live for 1,000 years. You can't possibly die. He even flogged those who spread rumors. Feng Wu said, so was Her Majesty the Empress Dowager over the moon? Master Gao smiled bitterly and didn't answer Feng Wu. The Empress Dowager was so. Feng Wu didn't want to talk to her anymore. Master Gao, may I ask why you're here? Feng Wu asked. Master Gao said, His Majesty wants to see you. Miss Wu, how long have you been here? When are you going to see His Majesty? He has a lot of questions for you. Feng Wu was about to say something when Gao cut her off. Don't say that you can't get in without an audience. Have you forgotten about your waistplate? You can go anywhere in the Junwu Empire, as if His Majesty is with you. Feng Wu waved her hands with a wry smile. I'm not your match. Let's go to court now. Sure. Gao welcomed Feng Wu into the Imperial Palace without breaking a sweat. By the way, Lady Northern Feng, Gao said before he left, you'd better go back now. His Majesty has an edict. An edict? Why now? It didn't seem to be bad news. His Majesty wants to welcome Miss Feng Wu back with a banquet in Taiji Hall. All officials above the 4th rank and their families have to come. Gao still remembered what His Majesty said. They were all saying that Xiao Wu was dead, and I'm going to summon all the gossipy women to the Taiji Hall. I want them to see that my daughter-in-law is still alive. When Master Gao said that, he chuckled, and so did Lady Northern Feng. Feng Wu blushed and said, "What's he talking about? It's not official yet. Plus, the most important thing now is the poison in my mother's system. Before she's awake, I won't think about anything else." Everyone became serious when Feng Wu said that. Lady Northern Feng was the first to react. "Poison? You're saying that your mother was poisoned, not terminally ill?" Feng Wu shook her head, but didn't explain further. She didn't want to alert the others. Feng Wu followed Master Gao into the Imperial Palace, while Lady Northern Feng went back home to prepare for the banquet. In the study, Emperor Wu looked at Feng Wu with tears welling up in his eyes. He was genuinely excited. He stood on top of the stairs and stared at Feng Wu. Those who didn't know better would think that they were father and daughter. "Your Majesty." As soon as Feng Wu bowed, Emperor Wu quickly walked up to her and patted her on the shoulder. "You're really alive. I was right. How can anything happen to you?" "Ha ha." Emperor Wu immediately asked Feng Wu what happened on her journey. Feng Wu told him everything except for her sick senior brother, which was confidential. "Emperor Yin is so nice to you, and he's punishing Princess Raoshi for you?" Emperor Wu was amazed. Feng Wu nodded. "When I came back, Emperor Yin had destroyed Princess Raoshi's cultivation ability and banished her to a nunnery. I don't think she'll ever come out." Emperor Wu was surprised. "Why is he so nice to you?" All of a sudden, Emperor Wu grew anxious. "He wants you as his daughter-in-law. He wants you to marry his son." Feng Wu immediately smiled. "That's not going to happen. Even his son won't allow it." "Who else is after you?" Emperor Wu had sent someone to investigate, but they hadn't come back yet. Feng Wu counted with her fingers. Apart from Princess Raoshi of Northern Yin, there's also the Zhua family, the Flower Valley, the Firmament Palace, and the Dongseng Kingdom. Emperor Wu stared at Feng Wu in amazement. "How can you still be alive when so many of them are after you? That explains the news of your death. Other people would never have come back alive. You're the only one who can survive this." However, Emperor Wu's face darkened. "I've given the order, but these people still want to kill you. They're offending the Junwu Empire. I'll forgive them." "And about my mother," Feng Wu said earnestly. Her mother was the most beautiful woman in the empire, and even Emperor Wu considered her an untouchable goddess. Of course, he cared about her. "Mum isn't terminally ill. She was poisoned." "What? Poisoned?" Emperor Wu's face went scarlet red. Who? Who poisoned her?" Feng Wu shook her head. "She's a barefoot girl with 2 top-level spiritual saints protecting her. Your Majesty, have you seen anyone like her?" As soon as she said that, she saw Emperor Wu frown as if he had remembered something bad. "You've met her before?" Feng Wu asked affirmatively. Emperor Wu didn't answer explicitly. Instead, he pondered for a moment, then looked at Feng Wu and said seriously, "Don't mess with that person. She's not someone you can mess with. Listen to me, and don't go to her." Feng Wu frowned. "If I can't find her, my mother won't wake up. How can I let that happen?" Feng Wu took a few steps back and stared at Emperor Wu. "I've worked so hard to protect the people I care about. Now that my mother's lying in bed, you're telling me that I can't go to the person who poisoned her. She's just a peak spiritual overlord. Are you sure she's not someone I can't mess with?" Feng Wu smirked. If she was really mad, she would go to her senior brothers and her beautiful master. She wouldn't be intimidated. Emperor Wu looked at Feng Wu in resignation. "She's just a peak spiritual overlord?" Emperor Wu patted Feng Wu on the head. "Don't get too excited. Yes, you're a genius, but you haven't been cultivating for long. You're a junior spiritual overlord at most. I'm at the peak of the spiritual overlord stage," Feng Wu said calmly. "A peak spiritual overlord? What did you just say?" Emperor Wu's eyes widened as he stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu said. The peak of the spiritual overlord stage. Emperor Wu said, didn't you have a chaotic battle with the Zhou and Hua families when you left the imperial capital? You were only a junior spiritual overlord then. It's only been 3 months, and you're already a peak spiritual overlord. That can't be. Emperor Wu looked from Feng Wu to Master Gao inquiringly. Master Gao nodded at Emperor Wu. To be able to stay by Emperor Wu's side and protect him, one had to be a very capable cultivator. Emperor Wu pointed at Feng Wu. You've been making such rapid progress that you almost scared me. It took Emperor Wu a while to recover from his excitement. Staring at Feng Wu, he said, I don't think Junjun made as much progress as you did he? Feng Wu was frustrated. So what? I'm not a peak spiritual saint yet. If she was at the peak of the spiritual saint stage now, she wouldn't need to worry about anything. All she needed to do was to find that barefoot girl and kill her. She didn't need to worry about anything else. Emperor Wu rubbed Feng Wu's forehead. Feng Wu snapped. What? Emperor Wu said, you don't have a fever. What are you talking about? Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Seeing that Feng Wu was in a bad mood, Emperor Wu tried to appease her. That's doable. After all, they've come all the way here and didn't bring many capable cultivators with them. When Junjun gets here... Wait, where's Jun? Lin Yuan? Feng Wu wouldn't tell anyone else, but Emperor Wu had nothing to hide, so she told him about Jun Lin Yuan's recovery. He's in seclusion, repairing his body? Emperor Wu's eyes widened, and he looked shocked. Feng Wu nodded. We can't disturb him this time. Otherwise, his body won't be able to take it. Emperor Wu asked, what will happen? Feng Wu glanced at Emperor Wu. What do you think will happen if his body is destroyed? Emperor Wu frowned. Feng Wu was confused. Is there something that only he can do? Emperor Wu looked embarrassed. He didn't tell Feng Wu what it was about, but only waved at her. Don't worry. I'll take care of it myself. Go back to your cultivation. The Junwu Empire will depend on the few of you when you reach the peak of the spiritual saint stage. Feng Wu could sense the fatigue in Emperor Wu's voice as if something she didn't know had happened. Feng Wu suddenly recalled what Emperor Wu said earlier, that the barefoot girl didn't bring many capable cultivators with her. How were 2 peak spiritual saints not many? What does she want? Feng Wu stared at Emperor Wu. Where did that barefoot girl come from? What does she want? Where is she now? Chapter 3955. Chapter 3955. Who is she? Chapter 3955. Who is she? Emperor Wu only stared at Feng Wu without saying a word despite her questions. So, you can't tell me. Feng Wu smiled bitterly. Emperor Wu patted Feng Wu on the shoulder. Xiao Wu, you've reached the peak of the spiritual overlord stage, but you haven't reached the spiritual saint stage yet. It won't do you any good to know about this. It'll only interfere with your cultivation. Hurry up and become a spiritual saint. In the end, Emperor Wu sounded like he was pleading. Entering the spiritual saint stage? Would it affect the Junwu Empire greatly? Feng Wu thought to herself. However, to Emperor Wu's surprise, while he was still hiding it from Feng Wu, at the Imperial banquet that night. At the banquet to welcome Feng Wu back, Feng Wu met the barefooted girl with the bells the White Fairy was talking about. Naturally, she wasn't there at first. Halfway through the banquet, when the atmosphere became more intense, there was the faint jingling sound of bells. Many people didn't hear it, but Emperor Wu frowned and looked displeased. He put down his glass and looked in the direction of the palace. The emperor's seat had always been facing the door. Therefore, Emperor Wu was the first to see the slim figure at the door. The lower hem of her flirtatious purple dress flapped in the wind, revealing her smooth calves, and the bells on her ankles chimed. Emperor Wu put down his cup, and his face darkened. The emperor was the center of attention, so everyone turned their heads and followed Emperor Wu's gaze. The enchanting girl with exquisite features walked toward them in the moonlight. She had only brought 2 people with her. Although they were few in number, there was an arrogant look on her face. She raised her chin and looked very arrogant. Who's she? She's wearing such strange clothes. Half of her arm is out. That's outrageous. And she's so arrogant. The others didn't like the enchanting girl right away, for she had a very provocative attitude. However, some of them were pleasantly surprised. That man was among the Duga family. The pretty girl walked arrogantly to the center of the hall, raised her chin, and smiled at Emperor Wu. Why, Emperor Wu, you're in a good mood. A palace banquet? How dare you? One of the officials scolded her. It was none other than Duan Hongyi, Duan Chaoga's father. However, with that, the enchanting girl raised her hand and a formidable energy shot at Duan Hongyi. Master Duan didn't even have time to react before he flew backward. Thump, thump, thump. Duan Hongyi knocked over several tables in a row, smashing into quite a few people before he landed. Blood kept coming out of Master Duan's mouth, and he couldn't utter a word. The people he bumped into fell to the ground as well. Chaos ensued, and people cried out in surprise. Feng Wu narrowed her eyes and stared at the pretty girl. She created chaos as soon as she showed up. She was so eager to see the world in chaos. The chief of the Imperial Guards came in right away. However, Emperor Wu waved them off. Chapter 3956. Chapter 3956. The Empire of Dian 1. Chapter 3956. The Empire of Dian 1. The barefoot girl walked up to Emperor Wu, tilted her head, and smiled at him. Why, Emperor Wu, you're so grumpy. Are you mad at me now? Emperor Wu narrowed his eyes. How dare you? The girl wasn't angry. She looked around and saw the confused looks in everyone's eyes. She smiled and said, I'm Yinling. I'm from the Dian Empire. By the way, do you know the Empire? Everyone was confused, but a few important officials of the Junwu Empire frowned. It was obvious that only a few core members of the Junwu Empire knew about the existence of that empire. Yinling glanced at Emperor Wu with a half-smile. So, most of the people of the Junwu Empire don't know about the existence of the Dian Empire. Emperor Wu, that's not right. How can you keep it from them? Emperor Wu's face was livid. But the girl named Yinling kept pressing, and she seemed to be very cheerful. The royal family of Dian is the superior sovereign of the Junwu Empire. In other words, the Junwu Empire is a vassal state of the royal family of Dian. The centennial annual festival is coming up. Emperor Wu, are you going to start preparing gifts now? Seeing that Emperor Wu wouldn't answer, Yinling chuckled again. Have you forgotten about the tribute? Because we haven't visited for 100 years. The look on Yinling's face turned serious when he said those words. An intimidating energy filled the air. Yinling was at the peak of the spiritual overlord stage, and the energy she was giving off wasn't too bad. However, the two men she had brought with her were the most capable cultivators of their generation, and they were releasing their energy as well. The capable cultivator hiding in the dark was about to step out when Feng Wu suddenly stared at Yinling and smiled. Miss Yinling. Feng Wu glanced at her. Yinling turned around and glanced at Feng Wu, which shocked her. What a beautiful girl. Her eyes flickered, and no one knew what she was thinking when she saw Feng Wu. Who is this young lady? Yinling, who had been aggressive toward Emperor Wu, turned all her attention to Feng Wu now. That was Feng Wu's plan. Feng Wu couldn't bring herself to see Emperor Wu being bullied by Yinling in front of so many people. After all, Emperor Wu had always been kind to her. I'm Feng Wu. Feng Wu? Who's that? Yinling sneered at her. Who gave you the permission to speak? Right now, many people were watching Feng Wu nervously. Because it was a royal banquet, there were a lot of people here. Almost all the fourth-ranked officials and their families were there, as were all the members of the major clans. Right now, they were all watching the conversation between Feng Wu and Yinling. Many of them were Feng Wu's old acquaintances. Some were gloating over Feng Wu's predicament, but most of them felt sorry for her. Needless to say, the 10 major clans knew about the existence of the Dian Empire. Although the empire hadn't been here for 100 years, their existence was like a shadow over the Junwu Empire. To be the Empire of Yin was like a giant mountain that was crushing down on every country on this continent. Chapter 3957. Chapter 3957. The Empire of Dian, 2. Chapter 3957. The Empire of Dian, 2. Who's Feng Wu? The others didn't like it when Yin Ling asked that question. Feng Wu, on the other hand, said calmly, I'm just someone who can defeat you. Hearing that, Yin Ling couldn't help but give Feng Wu a strange look. She then chuckled. Interesting. I didn't know that the Junwu Empire could have such an ignorant person. Yin Ling smiled at Emperor Wu. So, King Junwu, do you mean that as well? King Junwu. To Yin Ling, the emperor of the Junwu Empire was only a king. Emperor Wu clenched his fists. However, the energy coming from the two spiritual saints behind Yin Ling stopped him from making any reckless moves. He said, Shall Wu come back? Crossing his hands behind his back, Yin Ling raised his chin and darted an arrogant glance at Feng Wu. Feng Wu took a deep breath and went up to Emperor Wu. Emperor Wu shook his head at her, telling her to stay put. Feng Wu was so frustrated. She could live with the humiliation, but she couldn't stand it when an elder was humiliated, especially when that elder was Emperor Wu, who had been respected for his entire life. Yin Ling didn't look at Feng Wu again. Instead, she put her hands behind her back, raised her chin, and said casually, I'm here today to discuss a business deal with King Junwu. Emperor Wu said indifferently, Since we're here to talk business, Princess Yin Ling, let's talk inside. He didn't want to talk to Yin Ling in front of so many people. He only wanted to send her to the study, but Yin Ling waved him off. That won't be necessary. It's very simple. Just say the word, and I'm in a hurry. Emperor Wu knew that it wasn't good news, so he frowned. What is it? Yin Ling said. I heard that the Junwu Empire has produced a genius teenager in the past 100 years. His name is Jun Linyuan. Is that true? Emperor Wu frowned and had a bad feeling. However, Mrs. Dugu chuckled before Emperor Wu could finish. Jun Linyuan? Isn't that His Royal Highness? Flame Spirit nodded. That'll make things much easier. Emperor Wu stared at Princess Yin Ling, who asked arrogantly, Where is he? Emperor Wu knew where Jun Linyuan was because Feng Wu had told him that Jun Linyuan was repairing his body and cultivation technique in the secret underground room and wouldn't come out for 3 months. Right now, no one was allowed to disturb him. According to Feng Wu, even if the Junwu Empire collapsed, no one was allowed to disturb him. Emperor Wu glanced at Feng Wu, then turned to Yin Ling. Princess Yin Ling, Mavai asked WHV Vuri, asking about Tun Linbuan. Princess Yin Ling said arrogantly, If he's a genius, he should be a little talented. Of course, we have to take him back to the Empire of Dian and teach him well. It'll be such a waste if he's left in the Junwu Empire. Let him come out. Emperor Wu smiled bitterly. I appreciate your kindness, but he's not in the Junwu Empire. Even if he wants to go to the Dian Empire, he won't be able to. Why don't you leave first? When my defiant son comes back, he can go to the Empire to look for you. How about that? However, Princess Yin Ling shook her head. No. Emperor Wu's face darkened, and he said coldly, Chapter 3958. Chapter 3958. The Empire of Dian, 3. Chapter 3958. The Empire of Dian, 3. Emperor Wu said coldly, Jun Linyuan really isn't in the Junwu Empire. I'm afraid Princess Yin Ling won't be able to find him. Princess Yin Ling's face darkened. She had been threatening him in secret before, but now she was openly threatening him. Jun Linyuan isn't here? Huh. Your Majesty, please come with me. Feng Wu frowned. That was so arrogant of Princess Yin Ling. The others didn't see this coming. They rose to their feet and glared at Princess Yin Ling. Humiliating Emperor Wu was like humiliating them. Just then, they heard a taunting voice. Feng Wu, that's not right. Why haven't you told His Royal Highness? He'll be here in no time. It was Mrs. Dugu again. Feng Wu recalled the information she had received. The Dugu family had suddenly become stronger, and they were going against her all the time, even offending Emperor Wu. It seemed that the Dugu family was backed by the Dian Empire. As expected, Princess Yanling turned her attention to Feng Wu again. She frowned and asked, "What does this girl have anything to do with it?" Mrs. Dugu smiled. "Princess Yanling, you may not know this, but Feng Wu was engaged to His Royal Highness once, and they're very close. If anyone else knows about His Royal Highness, it'll be Feng Wu." "Is that so?" Princess Yanling had no interest in Feng Wu at first, but now she narrowed her eyes and smiled at Feng Wu. "Jun Linyuan's fiancé? Who the hell do you think you are?" She didn't try to be polite at all. Many people's faces darkened, especially Lady Northern Foam. She gritted her teeth and glared at Princess Yanling. If she could, she would slap the princess. But there were also those who gloated, such as the Dugu family. Feng Wu glanced at Princess Yanling and smirked. "That's so strange. If I'm not good enough, are you?" Princess Yanling acted as if she had only just heard about Jun Linyuan, which was obviously not the case. She had to know Jun Linyuan well. Maybe she was here for him. Princess Yanling stared at Feng Wu and suddenly smiled. "He and I? Well, that's not a bad idea if Miss Fins wants to dart with him." Feng Wu smirked. "But I don't want to part with him." Princess Yanling snorted. "It's not up to you." Feng Wu shrugged. "At least, I'm still his fiancée." Princess Yanling said, "Not if you're dead." Emperor Wu knew how terrifying the Dian Empire was, so he stopped Feng Wu and shook his head at her, telling her not to offend Princess Yanling. But with what was going on, Princess Yanling wouldn't let Feng Wu off the hook just like that. Princess Yanling smirked at Feng Wu. "If that's the case, let's do it according to the rules of my empire. The loser of the battle will become the winner's slave." Feng Wu said, "All right." Seeing that Feng Wu had agreed without hesitation, Emperor Wu was exasperated. He grabbed her by the arm. "Xiao Wu." Princess Yanling was too powerful. Had she lost her mind? Lady Northern Foam also tried to stop Feng Wu from saying yes. Mrs. Dugu smiled. "Princess Yan LNG has come all the way here, but Miss Feng Wu has been targeting her all the time. See? She's angry now." That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.